What's going on? 6:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Another busy day for Tennessee. Vols turning pro as 4 more members of the Big Orange were selected in rounds 3 through 10 in the 2024 MLB Draft. The second selection of the whole day was All-American pitcher Drew Beam, who went 76 overall to the Kansas City Royals. Kavaris Tears was next up at 134 overall, a compensatory pick for the San Diego Padres in the 4th round. Right-handed pitcher A.J. Causey was selected in the 5th round by the Kansas City Royals, joining teammate Drew Beam in the Midwest. And finally, Aaron Combs selected 229 overall in the 8th round by the Chicago White Sox. 1 week away from the Titans hitting the field for training camp. 104.5 The Zone will be out there, but some NFL teams reporting today. Those teams include the Bills, the Bears, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Saints, and the 49ers. In the Summer League, Lakers fall to the Celtics 88-74, but Dalton Connect's scoring streak continues. 19 points to go along with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW live on 104.5 The Zone is off and running. 615-737-1045. How you join us live in studio with the full crew present and accounted for, a week away from Tennessee Titans Training Camp 2024. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, Will Bowling, streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. We've got Jeffery Simmons giving us a lot of quotes about Tandre Sweat, the Titans defense, media coverage. We react to that this morning. Austin Price joins us at 8:20 as Tennessee makes the rounds at SEC Media Days. And from SEC Media Days in Dallas, Ron Slay will join us at 9:20 this morning. Tuesday, July the 16th, a beautiful morning in Nashville. How are we doing?
Twitch,
We're
please.
good.
It's going good.
What? So now you're stealing the
That was clever. I'll give you that one.
response.
It's going good.
You're beating a bird at his own game.
Every once in a while, Kayla, that's what I do. Yeah, happy Tuesday, man. Wake up with a smile on our face.
It's better than a frown.
It is. There's this song going around by this rapper from the city of Memphis, and it's so accurate right now. Okay.
Yeah, Glow.
Yeah, that's her. Okay. Okay, my boy. He goes, it's 7 p.m. Friday, and it's 95 degrees. I feel like at 7 p.m. each day this week is going to be 95 degrees. Okay. It is hot out here. All right, and y'all stay inside and wait till like 7 o'clock to go work out. It ain't worth it to be passed out here, man. But it is already, I think, 82 degrees this morning. Crazy
Probably
heat.
close to it. It's probably not as bad as Texas, though. I heard 3HL yesterday. Dawn Davenport was saying she woke up and stepped outside and was like, oh, my goodness, it is ridiculous. I know at the time of the home run derby last night, outside, I think it started, it was like 100 degrees. Obviously not that hot inside. It's like 70-something, but it is hot there right now.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can be a little bit thankful we're not in Dallas, but not too much.
Screw that.
It's still hot.
It's still hot. Yeah.
Has any event in sports fallen off more than the home run derby in Major League Baseball?
I thought last year was excellent.
Last year was excellent.
Last year it was excellent.
I'm with you on this one. I kind of, man,
there wasn't enough power.
I intently watched it, and then next thing you know, I was like scrolling, like, okay, this is.
Yeah, it was the lack of power, just with the attendees or whatever participants, whatever you want to call them.
I thought the Rangers guy was going to do pretty good.
Adolis Garcia.
Yes, him. I thought he was going to crush it.
Well, he looks like he would crush it.
He missed his mark the entire night.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The fourth fewest home runs, 18 of them.
Yeah.
Wasn't much there, and then obviously the polar bear and Pete Alonso completely disappointed.
Try hard.
Right?
Yeah.
He just completely fell on his face.
Finally ran
so that
out.
wasn't good. Lack of really excitement in that one. I just, again, didn't think there was much power.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It was a little lackluster last night, but I watched it. It was on. They got our ratings at our house.
They got ours too.
That's about all that they could get from it, man. But all in all, we're missing the most important news, though, Kayla.
What, the incredible anthem singer?
Ooh, we'll get to that one.
We've got that later on in the show.
We'll get to that one
I
later.
couldn't even watch.
I need Will and Bert to raise their thumbs up. That's all I need to see this morning, okay? I need to see what the thumbs are looking like. Because all
from
I
the
saw,
EA Sports.
EA Sports College Football
Right.
2025, okay? I need to see what thumbs look like today, okay? Because everybody I
Very
know
true.
was not texting yesterday.
No, I was not. That's why I
Very
did not
true.
watch a millisecond of the home run derby, which as soon as they went away from like you could hit another home run while your last home run was still in the air, the home run derby died. It's over. It's never going to be what it
They
was.
were pacing. Yeah.
Never going to be what it
Yeah.
was, because the whole point of the home run derby is to admire the home runs. And then now it's just this stat cast like, oh, he's going to hit another one while this one's in air. Terrible. Home run derby's dead.
They'll fix it.
No,
They got to.
It's gone.
Yeah, they have to.
It's dead.
They have to
It's
fix
dead.
it.
EA Sports College Football 25 is very fun. Is very, very, very fun. I did not get off to a good start. I tweeted personal news. I am very bad at EA College Football 25. At least I am not as bad as Big Cat, Coach Doug's on the Barstool stream. He is wretched at this video game. I think he threw 20 picks last night
go.
in 4 games, or 5 games. He went 1-4 in his first 5 games. So I wasn't that bad. I am making myself learn deep choice.
What you mean? Oh,
The Tennessee
routes.
offense.
Oh, yeah.
My first game, I lost to Troy on All-American mode on just an exhibition because I threw
That's my school.
7 interceptions. Well, virtual Washington State went 1-4 last night as well. So
Dog on. Don't
You just
dog
dogged on me, so I was-
exactly, because you lost. Exactly.
and then I got my confidence back. I said, all right, let's go back to basics. Let's play Vanderbilt. And Nico Iamaleava threw for 500 yards. We won 49-0. So realistic. We got confidence back again. We went and started our dynasty. The Vols are 2-0 against FCS Southeast, the Fighting Pandas. Nico Iamaleava threw for 490 yards and 7 touchdowns. It is really realistic. It is like unbelievable how much the Tennessee offense, like, you can really run it.
Yeah.
Because you can run the turbo no huddle speed, you lull them asleep with a run, and then all of a sudden you can run deep choice to where if there are 2 safeties, your receiver's going to run a comeback to the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's not safety help over the top, Dante Thornton or Squirrel White, if they get a step, you just loft it up with Nico, and it's like a 60-yard basket catch touchdown.
Yeah.
It is so much fun, but that offense is very difficult.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see what it's looking like. I should have paid for the early version of it, but honestly, I wasn't that
You
much
absolutely
in
When
should.
are you
tune
going to
it.
have time to play this?
I don't know. I don't have any time this week either.
Like
But we're just not
Ramon, I
sleeping.
feel like is never home.
I got one game in me. I want to see what the Vols look like in there, and then I'm going
And
to
then
pass
you're
it
gonna
off to the
sell it?
boys. No, I'm passing
Oh,
off
you're
to
gonna
the
pass off to
boys
the
because
boys, okay.
they want it too.
Right.
But I didn't even think much of it to order early. All I know is I had friends go missing in group chats yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw so many postings of the game intro,
Yeah.
or just pictures of people selecting their teams and stuff. So it was it looks good. I will say the graphics on it look smooth.
Yeah, that's what everybody
Amazing.
said.
Amazing.
It was. I guess it was all right, and my boys got their thumbs in here still. So, Bert, yours aren't raw this morning. You good? to
Oh,
go?
they're raw as hell.
They are raw.
They're raw as hell.
They are raw.
I've got beef with your brother now. I was playing with the University of Jacksonville last night, and Louisville beat the dog crap out of me. They dog.
I'm telling you,
me.
it's very hard.
Well, especially if you're
It's a very
a
hard
crappy
video
school.
game.
If you're a crappy school, you are going to have to figure out unique ways to win. But to Will's point, the offenses are very accurate. When you
Very
play
accurate.
UCF or you play UTSA, they are running turbo, and they are going to run so many plays every game. And it does not matter where you are. My only issue with this is ECU has never been the Purple Pirates. It is not touchdown Purple Pirates. It makes me want to rip my skin off. So EA, if you could fix that in the next 4.5, 5 hours before I have to get on and hear it again, I would really appreciate that. But fantastic game. I'll take 14 more of those now.
I have a question. Legitimately, if a school changes their offense completely, let's say,
they'll change it.
What happens? So they just update it.
It'll get updated.
Okay.
They have a lot of generic ones in there too. So they have they have a generic flex bone, they have a generic run and shoot, they have an air raid, they have all these things.
Right.
My only two issues at Tennessee, after touchdowns, they play Rocky Top. Tennessee doesn't play Rocky Top after touchdowns. They play it after the extra point. So down the field is what you play after touchdowns. So that was the only issue in terms of game day presentation. And then Reese Davis and Chris Fowler in the game are saying Imaleva.
Oh, no.
Not Iamaleava.
How'd they get that wrong? That's the biggest thing that you need to get right is Iamaleava.
Yeah.
That's a disgrace.
Unfortunately,
It's not good.
That's how video games are just done now.
It
They
is.
just get released a little too early. They get deadlines. They can't get everything done. I'm sure they'll have recuts coming up in like the next month, and they'll get some of this stuff patched up. Probably not for me, but Nico will definitely have his name fixed.
Probably not for the Pirates.
I insisted on. I should have been smarter and just played a game on like varsity mode when I started and played like
What level did you go to?
All American.
You went to
I went to the
All-American.
second highest one to start with.
Don't move up.
Here's my issue.
Do not go to Heisman.
I'm in a 35-person online dynasty that's supposed to start this weekend, and I'm USC, which I don't love to begin with because all the good teams were already taken, and that was the only like big time power that I could take for recruiting. So I was like, I'll just take USC, recruit like California quarterbacks, whatever. They all are insisting we play on Heisman mode. And I beat NC State 30-20 in Charlotte. Boot Carter had a pick six. I did learn defense. I got way better at defense by the time the night was over. But tackling is so difficult that like I just don't trust myself playing on Heisman.
Can't just run into people anymore. Like you actually have to make tackle attempts.
You
now.
do.
So
And these guys are like, we're going to advance the season every 2 days. It's like every 2 days you have to play a game. Like
Too stressful.
I'm not going to have time for that.
Recruiting
that's
is
during
so
football
Very
in-depth.
season.
involved.
Recruiting is so in depth. I DM'd so many players asking if their mom was hot.
Like, I DM so many 5 stars.
My gosh.
You can DM players on Road to Glory. There are like different scenarios where like older players will ask you to give them a ride as like a freshman initiation, and you can either decline or accept. You can like respond to girls and
My
like
buddy
be
got
over eager.
blocked.
I'm serious.
by his
You can
girlfriend.
get blocked on Instagram by girls for being too eager to want to hang out
That
with
is
them.
crazy.
You can lose. You can be ineligible because of your GPA dropping. It is so much fun. I could talk about this for hours, and this morning we will a little bit. So
Let's just end the show early. Can you guys handle this?
737.
No, I'll just walk out. I'm fine with
I
that.
just want to hear it. This is crazy.
Coming up, what Jeffery Simmons told us yesterday about Tandre Sweat, about Fletcher Cox. We'll get to that next.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a lack of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out, all right? At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients, with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointments today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW 104.5 The Zone, and we now live in a society with a college football video game. Streaming live at 104.5 The Zone TV, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Yesterday, Jeffery Simmons here on the show. We have got a ton, guys, to react to out of this. A half hour with Jeff. If you missed the full conversation and you've got a longer commute, you've got a 30-minute commute, it's there on your favorite podcast channel, wherever you download podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, as well as 1045thezone.com. Before we dive into some of the things he said about Tandre Sweat, about his goals for himself this season, what was the biggest thing you felt like Jeff said on the show yesterday?
Biggest thing he said to me was probably he covered it well, I feel like, but he mentioned the consistency of somebody playing the nose tackle position. I thought that was huge. I know we're going into the Tandre Sweat conversation. I thought that was somewhat telling right there, whereas no matter how good a player is, and I've always said this, the ones who are great usually have really good or even great teammates too. You are as good as sometimes your supporting cast. And I think finding that consistency at that spot for whoever's going to play it is very, 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 very important to Jeffery Simmons. And I think he said that yesterday.
I think we all knew Jeffery Simmons was a leader on this team, was the leader on this team. You could call him the face of the Tennessee Titans right now, just with the longevity compared to other players. But in this interview yesterday, I even saw more growth from the leader, Jeffery Simmons, by the way he answered some of these questions, whether it be the media question that we asked about or the question that Will asked about Arden Key, maybe looking too much back and comparing that defense under Mike Vrabel to what Denard Wilson does here. And Jeff to really quickly say, hey, I had a talk with him and we're focusing on now. We're not going to look back because if anything, when you look back, that hinders the process and we need to move forward. And Denard Wilson is, coming in here with a fresh new plan and we're buying in. And Jeffery Simmons said himself on our show yesterday, I have to lead the way. Yeah. And what I do in that locker room, that's setting a precedent. And I thought just the maturity I heard from Jeffery Simmons, even from the last few years covering him yesterday on our show, I can already tell he's grown immensely in that category as well. I'm so excited to see what he and this defense can do. We've talked a lot about the offense. Really excited to see what the defense can do.
I'll second that too. I was impressed by it. His answers were thorough. He gave us long answers too, and you can just tell there was a lot that he's digesting. Probably understands what's coming his way too. Again. That's why I think some of the signings they've made of other players, I think it really does help assist him in the leadership role that he has to take too on this team, because most franchises have the quarterback be the dude that, wrestles everybody, wrangle everybody up, but it's him and a few others now. So I was excited to hear that too. I think his growth was super unique in hearing him speak yesterday too. And you can tell it's also another thing that he's probably said he's going to be better and work on too, is his I guess, public speaking aspect of how he's going to be a leader on this team. I thought it was really dope yesterday, man. So shout out to Jeff for being more than just a football player.
Yep. Very calculated in everything that he said for a guy that is notorious or maybe famous around these parts for trash talking.
Yeah.
Which and certainly is in the proper context. This was Jeffery Simmons yesterday when Kayla asked about Tandre Sweat here on the show.
I mean, as you see, like you said, I haven't really saw much of him on the field. Of course, we see some of the stuff that he was doing rookie minicamp and stuff of that nature. But, the biggest thing for him, I think, is just, figuring out everything that he got going on. I haven't talked to him that much right now, but, I know, well, we was in a group chat messing with him on his birthday, of course, but I know for a fact that, he wanted to be good. I could tell his mindset when he in the building, when we was in the meeting rooms, and we spent a lot of the time in the training room together while everybody was at practice. I could tell that he want to get to that point where we could count on him and we could trust him. he was working his tail off, just trying to get himself back on the field. No one wanted to be in that training room. And that's one of the things we were just talking about, just take care of your body and let's get back on the field. But I know he'll be ready for training camp. So, but like I said, he's a big dude. When you walk past him and, you take his hand and, he's a big dude. And I honestly believe that if he can put it all together and, my job as a leader and especially a leader in that room, my job is to push him past the limit that, he think he have. My job is just to help him try to elevate as a player, because at the end of the day, he can help me and I can help him. When we playing together and we're on the same page, like I said, when you have a nose tackle who, when you watch him in college football, he's a dominant nose tackle. He can push the pocket, he can win his one-on-ones, and I don't hate to bring up the past, but, sometimes when you look back at it like, man, just if we had that consistent at that nose position, I think that's where one of the things I talked to him about when we were talking a little bit, just how consistent you can be when you walk into this building, even when the bad days and, not all when you're having a good day or a good game, how can you be a consistent player and, just a consistent guy in the building, because that's where we look for as teammates. We don't want, especially when you got some guys that up and down. Of course, sometimes guys just wake up and be like, I don't want to be bothered. But as a leader, with me, I just try to go in the building and, try to give the guys the same thing that they get when I have a 2-sack game versus, no stats. I've just been happy for your teammates. So that's one of the things, we just talked about, and me just trying to help him, see and feel the locker room as a young guy, because, we dropped him for a reason. We count on him to come in and help us play, help us win games, especially in the inside of the pocket. Because and more than anybody, how much I talk about pushing the pocket, and especially talking about in our division, you got all these skilled quarterback now that can run the ball and also throwing the ball pretty well. So at the end of the day, in order for us to win, especially on defense, we drafted him for a reason. I'm expecting big things out of him.
So that was Jeffery Simmons here on the show yesterday. There is a ton of interesting information just within that answer alone. What stands out the most to you guys?
To me, it was towards the latter part of that, man. On good and bad days, he just wants the attitude to be consistent. Mm-hmm. He wants the work to be consistent. He mentioned whether he got 2 sacks or he got no stats. He wants his teammates to be consistent, man. And the other thing, too, you can tell it's a locker room cultural thing. They're trying to make sure they shift and shape around the locker rooms, being happy for your teammates when they have good games, too. I think that's something that does matter. Like, one thing I will say, good teammates, when you get accolades, they are super ecstatic for you, because they will also understand that those eyes are on them, too, at some point. If they're coming to watch you, and you watch your teammate and you do your thing too, you will catch some of that also. So I was excited to hear him say that. And again, I can't forget the part where he said, if we look back at that position, the nose tackle position in years past, if we had a guy like him or was super consistent, then they may be in a different spot. So the run defense hasn't been bad here.
No, it's been good.
Has not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just hearing him say that, whether a guy is coming in and, don't want to be bothered that day, or he's on 10 that day, the consistency of that position. I'm hearing Jeff say a lot of stuff that it seems like now that he's able to have control of this defense, this team, he's doing those things by incorporating or instilling in guys that, look, no matter what, we come to work. I need a level of consistency from you, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. One thing that Coach Tomlin used to always say to us is every day we walk into the room, that meeting room, when you walk through those doors, whatever issues you had, you leave them, because we're here to focus in on football. And I think that's when you do those types of things and you're not talking about picking up towels in the shower or how disrespectful you are in the building, all focus goes towards the football side of things. And that's what I like hearing from Jeff right now.
And that's what you can tell Jeff's all about. I mean, Jeff has his life outside of football, and I know he has a daughter that's probably brought new perspective to him as well. But Jeff is football. Like, Jeff equals football. That's the equation I always see when I listen to Jeffery Simmons and when he talks about his teammates and what he expects out of his teammates, doesn't matter if they're a rookie or a vet that's been here 9 years. If he is the guy that's going to lead the way, he's going to expect the most out of that player. And rightfully so. He has been a guy who has played through every type of injury he's had during his time here with the Titans, most recently, the ankle situations. And he's done it because he's trying to do everything he can to help the team win. I did hear the word consistency, and that popped up out to me when he was talking about Tandre Sweat. Because as a rookie, to establish yourself and in that specific role, like you were saying, Ramon, in that nose tackle position where he's, expecting a lot out of this rookie because he wants to be his best and he wants Tandre to be his best. And you heard him say, we want to help each other in this situation. He's going to have to continue to push Tandre to be the biggest professional he can be. And that means, maintaining the weight, making sure that he is consistent in the way that he's doing things, starting in training camp. And I'm sure that process has already started. He hasn't spoke too much with Tandre, but now when he's going to be able to be on the field with him, I'm going to probably expect a lot of conversation in these few weeks of training camp when they're getting to know each other on the field. But I do feel really comfortable with Jeffery Simmons being the guy next to him that can help guide Tandre Sweat. Do I think it would have worked out with every team with Tandre Sweat? I don't think so, because I think he's going to be held to a higher standard here, specifically with the guy in Jeffery Simmons helping lead the way.
Here is Jeffery Simmons on another defensive lineman, one that he models his own career after in Eagles vet Fletcher Cox. Here's Jeff on the show yesterday.
Man, I think sometimes when you look at greats like Fletcher had a hell of a career, and I'm kind of surprised that he retired. I knew he was going to retire a little bit, but I was still kind of surprised about it. But most definitely, man, when you look at some of your mentors and a guy who, even when I was in college, he used to talk smack to me when I would get the SEC Player of the Week. And he'll send me. I remember him sending to me one time. He was like, "Young Buck, I got this 3 weeks in a row, or I got this many times." He said, "Keep it up," but at the same time, he know that I want to be great. I wanted to be great at the time when I was there at college. So that was just him, throwing stuff out there like that to push me to do it again, have another great week of in college football or whatever it may be. So when you got a guy like that who had done it at a high level and did it at a high level, you can't help but to respect it. And them the type of guys you want to chase. Even with guys like Chris Jones who's still playing the game. And, just being in that talk with them sometimes, it just makes you feel good. But it's also one of the things where I'm very hard on myself. I'm like, it's not good enough. Like, everyone, you see all the summertime, some people, of course, especially my family, they big on it. They see stuff with the rankings and they'll post it, and I'm like, I'm not reposting that. I don't care about that because if you're not one, in my books, you last. And I want to be the best D-tackle in this game, and that's my goal this year, to continue to elevate my career because quite frankly, I haven't reached that peak yet. I haven't. Go back to last season. I missed the last 5 games. My goal is to get to a complete season. And quite frankly, if it's not number one and me leading the D tackles and statistics and sacks and all that, and the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl, then you're not the best. And I think that's the reason why a guy like Chris Jones is being talked and is the best in the game, in my opinion, right now, because he's winning, and he won 3 Super Bowls, and every year he's leading the D tackles in statistics. So, like I said, that's my goal. My goal is to get to number one. In this off season, I've been working my tail off to get to that, get ready for this season, to continue to have a great career. And like I said, not looking on down the line, but at the end of my career, I do want to be known as one of the best D-tackles that play this game and have a lead that type of impact on the game of football like guys like Fletcher Cox did, and have young defensive tackle looking up to me as I looked up to Fletcher Cox.
Jeffery Simmons on the show yesterday. I think you are hearing Jeff take ownership of the success of this entire defense the way you heard Kevin Byard do for years.
For sure.
And in the first full season without Kevin Byard in that locker room, this is the new face of your franchise. And I think we all knew that going into our conversation with Jeff yesterday. I feel like we know that even more confidently after catching up with him yesterday.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to just talking with so many players and, finding out personalities. This is really a guy that is who he is. Like, he's not BSing anything. Like, what Jeff says, that's the belief he has. And it's just what Kevin Byard, like Will said, that's how Kevin came across too. It's not phony. It's not scripted. Like, those are just guys who passionately speak about what they believe.
Mm-hmm. 615-737-1045. We will continue reacting to lots more from Jeffery Simmons yesterday. Heck, we have only scratched the surface of what he told us and what we feel like we learned from our extended conversation with the face of the franchise. But coming up next, who is the second best quarterback in the NFL? I thought NFL executives and scouts told ESPN an answer that surprised a lot of people. We'll dive into that next.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a lack of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out, all right? At Lowy Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Lowy Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patient. The experts at Lowy Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for weekly visits. And at Lowy Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointments today. That's lowtcenter.com. Lowy Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Season of lists as the summer continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW a week away from training camp. Here on 104.5 The Zone, 615-737-1045. How you join Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and myself, Will Bowling. If I were to ask you, who is the number 2 quarterback in the NFL, considering Patrick Mahomes is likely a unanimous number 1 pick, who would you say?
I think I said it last week. Lamar Jackson, in my opinion.
Okay. Caleb?
I mean, I don't know if it would be my pick, but I know a lot of people would pick this. Josh Allen.
Fair.
Yeah. Who would be your pick, you think, for number 2?
I might go along with you with Lamar Jackson, honestly.
Yeah.
At this point, just with like, what have you done for me lately?
He's done a lot.
Robert Walsh, number 2 quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes is whom?
I think it's Joe Burrow. No, I'm just kidding. You know who I think it is. I could see why.
It's okay to say it.
I could see arguments as to why people would say every different quarterback.
Yeah.
But for me, as someone who's a totally unbiased party, I would go with Lamar Jackson. But I could understand why you would make arguments for Josh Allen. I would even hear arguments for Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I could listen to arguments for all of those guys.
I think it's important to have specific parameters around the ranking. Like if you're asking me who is the best talent, who is the most talented quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes, I think it's easily Josh Allen.
Right.
In terms of athletic ability, arm strength, all of those things. If you're asking me who is best at the quarterback position, then I would maybe say Joe Burrow is back in there. I am surprised that on ESPN.com's list of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, according to execs, coaches, and scouts, I am surprised that Joe Burrow is number 2 on this list. 27-year-old who had a 51.8 QBR last season when he was healthy, which was far from his best in his career, and finished another season injured. I would have put him 4th behind both Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I am one to, like I just mentioned, kind of whatever has just happened. If we're making these type of assumptions for, right now, it is hard for me not to incorporate what just happened this last season. And not to Joe Burrow's fault because it was injury related, but it's really hard for me to look at what he did in his body of work last year and say, oh yeah, he's automatically to start the year the second best quarterback in the NFL. That's really hard for me to do right now just because it is a what have you done for me lately league and just in sports in general. And you just never know how guys are going to come back. And I'm not saying he's not going to. I'm sure he will. But right now, for me to put him at number 2 when last year he wasn't really on the field and you don't know how he's going to show up this year, just like Aaron Rodgers in the situation with him, I can't put him at number 2 right now.
Joe Burrow has 2 issues to me. And one of them is slightly petty, but it is what it is. The first one is the pettiest one. He plays for Cincinnati, right? There's a history that they can't just get over the top like that. Even though they played in the Super Bowl, they still found a way to lose a game. And again, they caught everybody by storm. I don't think they were the number 1 overall seed that year. They hit a hot streak.
Yeah.
That is a part of their culture. Cincinnati hadn't won big like that in a very long time. And because of that, that's also reason number 2. He took us to the promised land way too soon. And then he didn't go back and double back with it. And I think those are the types of things that you somewhat expect from a guy who's a number 2 rated quarterback in the NFL. I think the talent is there. I think he has good enough footwork and speed to make plays around the NFL. His arm talent is most definitely there. He's proven to be somewhat of a winner. It's just that he's got to stay on the field. Again, it's one of those situations where when you're injured or got issues going on, it's probably best to stay out instead of teeter on, I need to go be Superman for my team. I think last year somewhat hurt him a little bit more and took some of that luster off of him in a sense to where he seems more human-like. Again, it comes back to the consistency of being a pro. And I think that's where, whether he was mismanaged by his franchise or it was a him problem trying to be Superman, you can't do those things. You can't take us to the promised land, and you can't Cincinnati this thing. Right?
I have a major issue with this list.
Okay.
It's the fact that Brock Purdy isn't on it.
Okay.
That's completely ridiculous.
And how deep does it go?
I agree.
Well, he's 11th, so he's the first man
right
out.
on the top
All
10.
these lists are top 10, so it's Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3, Lamar Jackson 4. Matthew Stafford checks in at 5. He was good last year.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yes.
Are injuries turned
Only
off?
missed 2 games. Only missed 2 games.
I know, right? Or injury mode
Well, he
off.
played through the injuries and played
Yeah.
poorly at the end is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Justin Herbert 6th.
Okay.
Too high. CJ Stroud is 7th. Okay. Aaron Rodgers has no business being on this list.
Nope.
After the
I hate that.
in and out season he had last year. Jared Goff at 9. Okay.
I was wondering where he'd be.
Dak Prescott at 10. That's fine. After the career year he had last season. Throw in Purdy where, I mean, heck, I might even have Purdy in my top 5. I'll be honest with you. He does not get nearly enough credit for what everyone just thinks, oh, he just tosses it over to Kittle and just hands it off to McCaffrey. Like the guy extends plays, the guy is making good reads, the guy is accurate, he has good arm strength. Like Brock Purdy can do everything.
I'll put him in my top 10, not top 5, though.
The way I view this, Aaron Rodgers should not be in it. Joe Burrow should be lower. If you look, CJ Stroud may be appropriate, maybe at 8. Justin Herbert probably a little bit lower. They should move, and Matthew Stafford, although had a good year, probably should be a tick lower and move Lamar up to at minimum 3. I put him at 2. And again, I'd even just say this too about the honorable mentions on this list. Brock Purdy should be up. Jalen Hurts should be up, and so should Tua in the top 10. You shouldn't get on this list if you had an incomplete season the way Joe Burrow did and the way Aaron Rodgers did. There are 2 slots
Stafford
that need
then.
to be filled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford then too.
Yeah. I mean, that many games, that's where I stand on this one. They went with names on this one. I feel like
For
more than
sure.
anything on this top 10 list.
And Tua Tagovailoa led the league in passing yards last year.
I mean, Tua was good.
Of behind Brock Purdy, Tua's disrespect was probably the second highest for sure.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up today at SEC Media Days, a very strong quartet of teams makes the round in Dallas, including the Tennessee Volunteers. We'll preview one thing on each of the 4 teams coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Looking to keep your home in great shape year-round? Of course you are. Well, you need to sign up for a Lee Company home maintenance plan for $12 a month. It is important to stay ahead of Mother Nature here in Middle Tennessee because on any given day, you might get all 4 seasons of the year here in the Middle Tennessee area. Yeah, you know that if you've been here for more than just a couple of days. Well, plan members, they receive 4 service visits a year from the Lee Company team of experts. So this is a great way to stay ahead. A heating system tune-up, you get an air conditioning tune-up, an electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection as well. That's 4 annual visits for $12 a month. For the very best in-home service, call Lee Company at 615-567-1000 today or visit them online at leecompany.com. Just search Home Maintenance Plan to join their membership. 615-567-1000 online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
7:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Another busy day for Tennessee Vols turning pro as 4 more members of the Big Orange were selected in rounds 3 through 10 of the 2024 Major League Baseball draft last night. The second selection of the whole day, All-American pitcher Drew Beam, who went 76 overall to the Kansas City Royals. Kavaris Tears next up at 134, a compensatory pick of the San Diego Padres. Right-handed pitcher A.J. Causey as a 5th-round selection by the Kansas City Royals, joining teammate Drew Beam in the Midwest. And finally, Aaron Combs, selected 229 overall, 8th round by the Chicago White Sox. 1 week away from the Titans hitting the field for training camp. 104.5 The Zone will be out there, but some NFL teams reporting today. Those teams include the Bills, Bears, Chargers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Giants, Saints, and 49ers. And the Lakers losing in Summer League action to the Celtics 88-74, but Dalton Knecht continues to fill the stat sheet. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. hour number 2, getting started on a Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW 104.5 The Zone. On Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. That is where you watch the show on 104.5 The Zone TV. Go to the comments section, say hello, hit the like button, and interact with our virtual neighborhood. That's where you go to be in the F&M Bank chat. 615-737-1045 is our number. Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Missouri make the rounds today in Dallas. Cooper Mays, Keenan Peely, and Omari Thomas, the trio for the Volunteers. Josh Heupel at 10:45 scheduled to speak. Give me one question you would ask Josh Heupel today if you were in Dallas, Texas.
One question I'm asking Josh Heupel today, how do you keep pace with Georgia's defense offensively? You finally have the quarterback that you've been prepping up. We saw what your offense could look like in 2022. How can you get back to competing against Georgia since you have to go through that gauntlet this year? That would be my question for him. Because the offense is his baby.
Oh, for sure.
The quarterback is the one that jump-started most of this NIL. I'll never forget when that broke. I think we were in California for something like Long Beach, like that's where he's from. And now, I mean, that's pennies. It's almost like the NFL free agency, right? Now, what Nico somewhat got, we think, speculated that he got his pennies in this world now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because there's a lot of ways that you could go with this. And when you just want an overall question that maybe sums up everything in terms of what we expect this next year, or what we're expected to get, is, maybe just what part of this team do you feel like is going to take maybe a little more time to develop? And we're not going to maybe see it right out of the gates, but we're going to see it when it matters the most.
I think there's a lot for Josh Heupel specifically. I mean, you've got the fact that there's no NCAA cloud over this program entering a full season, really for the first time that he has been the head coach at Tennessee. How much more has that opened up for the Vols in recruiting? How much has that helped him and his staff? I think if I had one question for Josh Heupel, it would be, how have rule changes in college football affected, if at all, the way you construct and build your offense? Helmet communication, the clock not stopping after first downs, the 2-minute warning aspect of this. The college football rulemakers are trying to shorten games, give you more advertisements. How does that impact the tempo, picking and choosing your moments, things of that nature? Because Josh Heupel's offense has withstood multiple different rule changes within college football. How does this one affect him, if at all, in terms of the helmet communication thing? I think would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the helmet communication. I just am, because it makes the games, I think, flow better. But here's the other thing, too, that I think that's super unique about the helmet communication is going on the road. Like the SEC, or just in general, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, right? Like, will the headsets go down? And what will the coaching staffs and player be able to do in those situations, considering, like, well, if you have a freshman that's out there, like a true freshman, how will the hand signals be able to work for guys that got young quarterbacks, the first-year starters and stuff like that? I think that's going to be super unique. And also on the side for the Vols, because pace and speed is a part of this offense.
For sure.
Will this speed up the offense? Will it somewhat stop the defense from falling to the ground, because they also have a green dot too on that side of the ball, if I'm not mistaken, on that rule change. How does he plan to take advantage of the helmet? I mean, the communication in the helmet.
Was the communication in the helmet, and I'm maybe flipping this here, the SEC decided not to use it in the postseason last year when they had a chance to explore with that? Because I know that was a thing where some teams did use it, but it might have been the flip where they did use it.
I'm not even sure on that one.
Yeah, there were
like
some teams used it. I want to say the SEC decided not to try it out, but I was just curious for my own.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I'll be honest with you. I know it's conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I never really dove deep into that one to understand it. I just knew it was coming this year, and they had tried it out, I felt like, in practices and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that was only non-CFP bowls.
Okay,
yeah,
so non-CFP bowls.
They
that's
wouldn't
what
make
it was
a change
then.
like that before playoff games. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was definitely in bowl games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it, though. I think it makes the games a little bit more, should have a little bit more flow about it, but I can't wait to see if you go to Tuscaloosa, Georgia, and the communication drops. It did that all the time to us when we went to New England. I wonder why.
Brent Hubbs of AllQuest. Yeah, funny. Just slid that one in there really, really slick there, didn't you? Brent Hubbs wrote about the observations from Tennessee's updated roster, which went live at utsports.com yesterday. You've got guys like Chaz Nimrod and Trevor Duncan gaining 25-plus pounds from what their listed weight was last season. Ramon, how accurate are these weights for college athletes?
Very accurate for college athletes.
Really?
Yes, very.
That surprises me.
Height's different.
Okay.
Height
like Kevin
different.
Durant going on, or you're 6'9" instead of 7
Why
foot.
is that different?
He don't want to play center.
He doesn't want to be a forward.
Yeah.
He's a guard.
Yeah, he's a guard. Stat-wise and money-wise,
There
I
you
think.
go. 100%.
Yeah. They're very accurate, though, Will. Those weight room coaches, man, are adamant about making you hit your, goals in the summertime. Like, the ability to drop weight, gain weight, not just gain muscle. Is you want to see a strength and conditioning coach take pride in something?
Yeah.
Oh, add 10 pounds of muscle. You can skip a couple classes, okay? You can talk back to somebody in the weight room. You can run the aux cord for all I want. You hit that weight room appropriately, and you take you take the proper steps to get your goals by the time summer camp hits. Oh, there's nothing else more proud about it. And that also probably means, focus. You're disciplined enough, and also you're just the guy. You hit where they think you're going to be productive for the team.
Sure.
That's why it's more accurate, Will, than it is not. And they celebrate it. I know we did. If dudes drop properly, oh my gosh. You want to see a happy offensive coordinator when the O-line is all under 325? Oh my, you should have saw Coach Cutcliffe. It's
like Christmas for him.
It is, because it lets you know your guys at peak performance. More than anything, I ain't got to worry about you getting in shape, being tired, or having some type of issue. So that's why I think it's more accurate than not at the college level. Now, on the NFL level, Will, somebody might get a couple ducats if you say, yes, he came 5 pounds under his targeted weight.
You got guys putting weights in their pockets?
Oh, 100%. I've seen it happen. Yeah, I've seen dudes get up on the small dudes. Weight is an issue for them, too. Get up on the scale with a dumbbell in, their ankle.
That is so funny.
I'm really glad that when I was an athlete, I just went back to my old utsports.com page. When you're a runner, weights are not displayed on utsports.com.
And why is that?
Well, it's just irrelevant. It doesn't matter because it's not a contact sport. So it doesn't.
But it's
not on there for every sport. It's just really for the main ones.
So does it have your height?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't have any type of.
Thank God. Okay. Well, height would have been nice, but I would have bargained. I would have been the smallest athlete in like the last decade of UTSports.com and Tennessee athletics. I was like 6'1", 120, 125.
I'm just guessing. I mean, I've never covered in track intensely, in cross country intensely, but I guess I just assumed everybody had a weight and height if they are an athlete.
Heck, most female sports don't, because that's like obviously a little bit more of like a taboo.
I mean, volleyball.
Kind of thing.
I'm wondering. I remember back in the day it did at least. Maybe it doesn't now.
I don't think any female sports do now.
Really?
They probably don't publicly do it, but probably inside the building.
Height for volleyball is huge.
Oh yeah, right. Well, height's one thing, but weight.
Yeah,
is not on anywhere.
Weight I can see.
Something super unique about this though too, and I've had numerous parents bring this up. They're talking about trying to get their kids to gain weight and stuff, and I tell any parent in high school, no, don't. You don't have to pile it on. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong on this.
They're still growing.
They're growing. And when you get to college, you get into this program. We're looking at Caleb Herring that's gained 23 pounds.
Yeah.
He's at 249 right now. So he's probably a rail bone at some point in time. Like John
he was
Campbell.
long in high school.
Putting on another 10 pounds of muscle. He's 330.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there, parents. Don't rush your kids or force your kids. Like, if you want to put them on protein and have them lift, like, feed them appropriately.
Sure.
But you're not going to get these gains right here. This plus 24 by Chaz Nimrod.
He's a wide receiver.
The wide receiver. He's up to 220.
Right.
24 pounds. What I'm telling you is this, and Will, you know this as a college athlete too, and Kayla, you've been around it long enough to understand. From that freshman year, from where you are in high school to where you are by the time you hit a sophomore is so much more different.
Sure. Yeah, right.
You're
I watch it with my brother. Yeah.
You're on a regiment of lift, eat, sleep, eat, sleep.
It's either that or 8th grade to 9th grade. That was my big jump.
Sure. And you can't be forcing things to happen when your body is still growing.
Go in as a moldable piece is what I tell parents that got kids in high school. Like, if you got a genetic gift where your kids can get big, cool, but there's no need for you to be trying to force feed them to get up to this level right here.
Looking forward to hearing Oklahoma at SEC Media Days today and linebacker Danny Stutzman, because Harold Perkins was asked about Stutzman yesterday and said, who?
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Not great. I'd probably know who the best other inside linebacker is in the SEC.
Say
but tough.
That's tough.
And then, of course, Eli Drinkwitz will say something stupid. 615-737-1045 is our number. Jeffery Simmons gives us important insight into what it's like playing for Denard Wilson. And we've got that for you next.
Hey, are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of that annoying joint pain? You know, this is the best time of years to be outdoors, but not if your knees, your shoulders, your back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. This is the good news, though. You don't have to suffer any longer because non-surgical joint pain relief is here. And it is at QC Kinetics. You can call them today for free consultations. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. And I'm talking about long-lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments actually harness your own body's ability to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue so that you can walk and run, hike, play golf, whatever you want to do in the upcoming months, and do it pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. So stop putting it off and take action today. Live your best life again. Simply call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation at 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Rolling through hour 2 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV. More from Jeffery Simmons on the program yesterday. But first, we go to Phil in Portland with us on the phones this morning. What's up, Phil?
Hey, Phil.
Hey, good morning. Ramon, I heard you talking a while ago about, these kids adding on weight and everything. I just wanted to get an opinion from you. Now, I know that, you can be skinny and out of shape, or you can be big and in shape. And what they were telling these kids at this football camp is, if you got this weight on you, you got to have the discipline to be in shape with the weight. So, because some of them are naturally big boned, and that doesn't mean that, they can't be in shape with it. So I just wanted to hear your comment on that. And I love the show, man. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Phil, that is a great assessment.
Astute
right
observation.
There. Yeah, it is. Because
circle.
that's the thing. You like he said, some people are just born to where getting weight off is just hard, or putting weight on is hard too. Your genetic makeup is just what you are. But here's the thing about it. He makes a great point. If you're going to be small or big or outside the parameters where the coaches want you at, you better be able to move. You better be able to supplement it in some type of way, either through your strength, your smarts, or your knowledge. Like, those are the things that have to happen in those situations right there, because I'm sure you've run into guys that was way too small and they found ways to make it happen for them. And the bigs, again, everybody know offensive linemen, defensive linemen are big, all right? But if you can be productive and move and make plays for teams, they'll find a way. It's hard keeping talent off the field. It just is.
It was funny in college. There was a player on the Tennessee basketball team who I knew through his weight gain, he had to go meet Garrett Mendenwald, the strength coach of basketball, would have to meet him around 6 or 7 a.m. at Smokies. And they would sit there at the table until everything on his plate and a smoothie was finished. And he could not leave to go to practice or class or whatever else until everything was done. What was your favorite weight gain method? Like your favorite snack to eat while you're trying to gain weight?
I was always on the lose weight method. Okay.
Well, then my weight gain method
You're
was
not eating then,
exactly.
right?
And mine was after my college athletic days, and y'all know my story of that. And I was freakishly skinny, so I wanted to look like a normal human, which I feel like I've finally done now. I had to drink a shake right before I went to bed every night for a year. Yeah, that was a weight gain mix protein shake. I love vanilla protein. I don't know what it is, but I would do vanilla peanut butter shakes all the time in college and even now, where you just do ice, milk, protein powder, and fresh peanut butter, the crunchy peanut butter.
Greatest protein shake ever.
So
There's
good.
one with peanut butter in it.
A lot of the guys I talked to who had to gain weight or whatever, including NFL players coming in, eggs is definitely one of the biggest things on their menus. Every single morning, eggs, a lot of avocado included on that because that's actually good fat, but it is fat. But eggs were the number one thing that I always heard about in terms of weight gain for athletes.
And that fresh peanut butter at Smokies takes me back. Those were the best days.
Frostbite says in there, lean or small, do your job. That is probably the biggest understanding ever. We've heard these stories. Well, this guy was 3 whatever, right? And they were just productive.
Yeah.
What are the coaches going to say at that point right there? If you out of the parameters, just be good.
If I got the person that was that knew us at Smokies after practice, it'd be a cherry juice, red apples and fresh peanut butter with a Gatorade vanilla protein shake, and I was set. So just go home and not do my homework and play FIFA. Great.
There's a lot of stuff. It's the same thing. If you're a headache, if you ball, they're going to put you on the field, man.
Yep.
I'm telling you, get the cook. We'll figure the rest of the stuff out after the fact, right?
Well, speaking of off-season training, Jeffery Simmons was on the show, of course, yesterday. We have been reacting to about half of that earlier this morning. But what he reveals to us about playing for Denard Wilson, we asked about Arden Key's comments earlier this offseason. When Arden Key was asked about correcting things in the moment, the previous administration not correcting issues on the practice field, the new administration making more of a point to do that. Jeff would not take the bait, so to speak. However, did provide us, I think, some interesting insight into what it is like playing for the Titans' new defensive coordinator. Here's Jeff on the show.
And I would say, because of course I'm in every meeting Even early OTAs before I ended up going back to Dallas for a little bit before minicamp, I was there and I was like, and of course, me and Arden sitting beside each other, so we both just looking at each other like, man, it's time. Let's go play right now. It was so like the energy he's bringing just in the meeting room and what you can expect out of his defense and what he expects out of his defense. It's like it's gonna be unbelievable. I'm excited. I think them words attacking and I think the word attack is one of the biggest things that, I've been seeing, especially just in hearing from guys up front. And, it's just a different style, I think, the way he brings, his energy he brings. So I'm excited to play with him. He texted me the other day, and we were just joking back and forth. And I told him I can't wait to hit the field with him and then to actually, see him on the field. I got a little bit of it when I end up joining the guys during practice, but everyone knows training camp and when them pads come on, it's totally different. When you actually get a little closer to the game, the season, everything is different. So I'm excited about that. Like I said, tremendous respect for him when he first came in and we sat down and talked and he told me his plans for me. I think that really got me excited, just being able to try to find them matchups for me and, put me in position to make plays. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how he can get our defense back to where I know it should be at.
That's Jeffery Simmons on the show yesterday. Ramon Foster, how will Denard Wilson scheme defensively to get the best out of Jeffery Simmons? What does he mean when he says that to us yesterday?
Man, I just wrote it down just so we can come back to it right there. It is exactly what he said. You remember the other day I said cerebrally, like I want to see Jeff evolve? Well, that probably means Denard Wilson got to set him up also. Mm-hmm. Like he mentioned Chris Jones yesterday as far as one of the stat leaders for D tackles in this league. That's one thing Kansas City does for Chris Jones. They line him up to go win. Now, everybody's got to do their job around him, but guess what? When you are the show, when you're the show pony, and Jeff is a show pony here right now, he's the stallion, I guess, here. When he's the guy is what I'm saying. You got to be able to set him up, and everybody around him got to understand that too. His ability to win is huge. If he's the one that's being isolated and to win, I think we all trust Jeff to go do those types of things. And that's one thing that I think Denard Wilson can be a genius with when he comes down to Jeff, is having him be in position to win. And here's the thing. It doesn't mean everybody else sit back and watch him do work. No. If Jeff's in a position where he's got the one-on-one and you're the guy that's on the other side getting the one-on-one because they're double teaming or potentially sliding to him, everybody eats off of that right there, that logic. And that's finding, all right, one, personnel. Who's the guy that the other team doesn't trust? Well, everybody's got an analytical department, right? So they can see this left side or this right side is losing more. All right, if that's the case, in third down, they're always sliding left because the quarterback's a right-handed thrower. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that you can do in these situations when you got a guy who is a defensive-minded guy and somewhat attacking defensive-minded guy. No, very attacking defensive-minded guy to set you up. Just to even look at the last two places that Denard Wilson has been at and to give some stats to it real quick. Yeah. The Titans last year, man, had 6 interceptions, right? And how many sacks did they have left? 45. The last two places Denard Wilson has been at, one, you'll look at the pass deflections and the interception. Baltimore last year, 18 interceptions. But the coolest thing of it all is they had 92 pass defended, meaning the ball didn't come their way on top of 60 sacks. In 2022, when he was with Philly, like he wasn't calling the defense, but again, double-digit interception, 17, right? Pass deflected was 85. So they're not only just able to get the ball, but they're also preventing the other team from getting the ball too. And 70 sacks. Now, I know that Philly defense personnel is really good over there, okay? But when you have a guy that understands how to coach guys up, and we heard Jeff say this too, he is hard on this secondary. So realizing that, Will, Kayla, but also understanding that the guys that are supposed to make plays on this team will make plays on this team. And I think that's why Jeffery Simmons is very excited about Denard. And that's also where I feel like we as a media group here should probably stop talking about Denard too. It's because if he is that good, somebody going to come grab him. Because
I think he's already on the radar on that
He's
aspect.
Pushing it right now. And I think it's good for this team to somewhat reset and understand that your playmakers are going to be asked and demanded to make plays too.
What's always interesting about a reset on a team, and this is just a reset I've personally never seen because it's been, mainly Mike Vrabel here that I have covered, and you kind of see him bring up guys that he's had there. So you're familiar a little bit with who he is able to make offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, promote from within, I would say. With this situation, it's so intriguing to me because we've talked a lot about the offense and how it's, you're seeing a new head coach as an offensive-minded guy, so that's different. But he's bringing in guys that he trusts and he expects to do their jobs in terms of assistant roles. But then you look on the defensive side, and that's completely different. Like you're talking about a defensive coordinator who has been a secondary coach at the highest level. And you talk to any of his players that have played in his systems, whether that be at Philadelphia, where they said he actually needed to probably be the defensive coordinator. Darius Slay, I think, was tapped with saying that, to what he did with the Baltimore Ravens last year. And we all know the type of defense that they run. And Ramon gave you the numbers there. But he was tasked with kind of being trusted to bring in his own crew. That really wasn't Brian Callahan's, job to say, hey, I trust these defensive guys. He left that all to Denard Wilson. Yeah. So what I think is going to be really interesting about this defense under Denard Wilson is it might take a minute to actually see what the full product is. And I encourage fans to have a little bit of patience in that realm of things, because it's not going to just by the snap of your fingers in training camp all going to look complete. But I think the biggest thing is he really does trust all these positional coaches to do their jobs. And I think as much as Denard is that outspoken guy who demands the best, I think it's good because he's going to trust his assistants to do their job. And I think last year there was a little bit of a confusion on where you were taking the actual cues from, because even Big Jeff, even Jeffery Simmons in the locker room multiple times would be like, well, we're hearing it to do this way, but we're then told me we need to do it this way. So I think that'll be a really good thing with this defense too, with the communication aspect, how Denard actually trusts his assistants to just do their jobs.
We played Jeffery Simmons' conversation about Tandre Sweat earlier in the show, and about how he said, we've talked for years that if we could just get a little bit of consistency at nose tackle, a little bit of a shot at former teammate Tier Tart, maybe there unintentionally, but
I don't blame him.
I don't think he was trying to make anything personal with the former teammate, but it's not certainly an endorsement, maybe of the consistency level of the guys that played at that position since he's been here. To me, though, guys, it reinforces something that we've talked about and something that I truly believe about this defense. Tandre Sweat's the X factor.
Oh, yeah.
I think that this team has doubled down on the middle of the field being defended by the guys on the front line. And what I mean by that is they have taken risks on inside linebackers. They have taken a risk on Jamal Adams at safety. And we still don't know if they're done or not. I would argue after seeing the contract numbers that they're still going to sign a safety. But they are bargaining that if you can push the middle of the pocket, life is a lot easier for Cedric Gray. Life is a lot easier for Kenneth Murray. Life is a lot easier for Jack Gibbons and Amani Hooker and Jamal Adams over the middle of the field. How do you feel about that risk specifically? Because you can't rebuild a whole defense in one summer. But that is the risk it feels like this team has taken, right? Is that the riskiest thing the Titans have done, is saying, Jeff and Sweat, you guys are our best middle of the field defenders as the front line against offenses?
I think it is. And I had mentioned in a couple segments ago that it's a risk that I don't think every team could have made because of the fact that he really does need some guidance. I think he really does need to figure out how to be a pro. And I'm not saying he wasn't doing his job at Texas. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying this is a different level. And the day in and day out consistency that it takes, and that Jeff brought up, that you need to be the best, and with what they are trying to rely on him to do, which is going to help, like Will said, all the other pieces do their jobs correctly or well, he's got to be that guy. And there's not a lot of time for him to make mistakes. And I say more so with him not being at the right weight, with him not being available because he's dealing with some sort of an injury. He's got to take care of his body from the start. I know he has a nutritionist that is helping him guide that. Hopefully the injury is in the past. But with Jeff there, that is a very special tool to help guide this young man. And I don't think it's all up to Jeff, but I think it's enough, combined with Tracy Rocker, the new defensive line coach, who has been through this rodeo a time or two. I think those are the unique tools that they felt it was okay to take this risk, but it is a risk.
No doubt. Is that the biggest risk they probably made? Yeah.
On
100%.
defense, it's got to be.
100%.
Because a lot is weighing in on the young guy, too.
Second
That's the
rounder?
other side of it, too, is being able to pace himself over the course of these 18 regular season weeks, 17 games. But here's the thing, though, too, let you know why that risk was somewhat, I guess, warranted, is this. This young man at D tackle this year, nose tackle, whichever one you want to call it, had 45 total tackles, 8 for a loss, and only 2 sacks, and won the Outland Trophy this year, the best interior offensive or defensive lineman for this year. That ought to let you know his impact on the game. Like, it didn't necessarily show in the tackles. 45 ain't a lot over 12, 13 games for any college player, right? But to let you know what he meant to that defense, how he dominated. Again, we saw him at the Senior Bowl where he bent centers and guards back. If he can do something similar to that over the course of the game with this conditioning up, yes, I think this would be one of the bigger payoffs that this team has seen in a while. To where you get your Vince Wilfork, Casey Hampton. We're talking about
Vita
Veas, right? We're talking about those guys, DJ Readers, right? And like, there's a lot of those dudes that when you walk into stadiums, you say, man, that's going to, I'll tell you, as a guard in the centers, Pounds be talking to him, I be talking to him. Man, this going to be it. We're going to have to move his big ass. Like, those are the conversations you're having.
I think it is a worry that so much of your defensive success is based around a guy who so far has not been on the field. But, I mean, that's life in the NFL. You got to take risks somewhere.
That's what I was going to say, yep.
I think if Tandre Sweat is good, this Titans defense will be great.
Yeah.
I think the Titans defense is a top third of the NFL defense if Tandre Sweat is what he can be. Those are high expectations that I don't think are totally fair for him. But if he lives up to his potential in year one, hits the ground running, has a great rookie season, this defense is going to be nasty. Make no mistake about it. Because on the outside, you've got superstars. You just got to stay healthy.
I'll tell you about some of his challenges of the ifs that we gave after the break, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Your reaction in that from Ramon Foster coming up next. Talking about the Titans defense this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will after our chat with Jeffery Simmons on yesterday's show. If you missed that discussion, you find it wherever you download podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 1045thezone.com, and your favorite podcast platform. Every interview and every hour of the show is posted for you there as soon as the show concludes. We'll talk about SEC Media Days, what Greg Sankey said yesterday about SEC expansion coming up here in 15 minutes. But first, Ramon Foster, you have the floor on the biggest issue for Tandre Sweat moving forward into this season.
It'll be this, and these are all adjustment type things too, for the most part. All right, but it'll be this, man. Be able to get to the quarterback with better pass protectors. Professional guards and centers will be a lot better than what he played against in college, even if he played at a big university. Can he do that and not get frustrated? That's one of those issues. Can he continue, like Jeff said, do your job whether you're making the play or not? He's got to be in that spot. I think Tandre at Texas was one of those guys, I'm in the play, I'm making the play, I'm affecting the play all the time. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Being able to run side to side. If I'm Chicago and he's starting up the middle, guess what I'm doing? I'm running sideline to sideline. I'm trying to tire him out as quick as I possibly can. Can he handle that, running to the ball, getting back on the field and not taking a knee? Like Jeffrey said, the consistency of that position right there is going to be crucial for a team for this defensive team. And then the beating him up. I'll be honest with you, I've seen numerous D tackles, nose tackles come in with this type of praise. First thing we trying to do is hit those ribs.
Yeah.
Will he react? If he's up and he's pushing my center, I am teeing off. And this might make me a bad person, but I am trying to kill his hip and his ribs. Mm-hmm. Can he handle that? Because here's the thing about it. Guys are smart enough and the tackles are mostly good enough in the NFL. I can leave my tackle and go beat this guy up, play in and play out. That's what my aim is. I'm not trying to hurt him, but I am trying to neutralize the heck out of him, especially with his size, his power, and the praise that he has going on. Man, I need to drop you to a knee. It's just that simple. And then the other part of it, too, the attitude side of it. Can he sustain the extra pushing?
And the criticism.
Well, I'm just talking about in play.
Sure.
Like, can he sustain the extra pushing? Because I'm going to shove him. I'm going to try to get him to react. I'm doing all those things to try to make sure that he's a detriment to his team more than anything. But his conditioning and his side-to-side play and the consistency of being out there. And if he gets caught in a no-huddle type of situation, I know he said he wants to be a three-down guy. Well, I'm going to make you prove it to me. How much can you go before I make you drop to a knee and want to go to the sideline? And if it's not you in, then I need to see what your backup is looking like, because I got a feeling you're probably a little bit better or a little bit more effective than your backup. Can he be an early pro? I want to see him grow, but I also want to see him be able to, first game of the year, give me something to show me that you were worth this. And again, all of this comes over time and growth and mentally growing as a pro too. But initially, y'all, I'm in his ribs. I'm trying to drop my shoulder into his hip and ribs and watch him go, owie.
Game within the game.
That's all I'm trying to do, because he's such a focus point. Like Vita Vea, right? Like, those are one of the biggest things that you have to deal with him, is managing his size and his push up the middle. Tandre would garner, if he's that type of dude we think he is, that type of respect and attention.
But I think that's a huge part of it. Obviously, you have to see it on the field, and you're going to have those moments that you did not get in training camp when you were at Texas. It's completely different. But I also do think the mental side is a huge part of this for Tandre Sweat. He was the guy at Texas. He was praised probably a lot at Texas. I know there's been stuff about his assistant, his line coach, and calling him out a few times in situations. But how can he handle, too, the type of coach Denard Wilson is? Because Denard Wilson is going to criticize you. You heard Jeffery Simmons say that. And I know sometimes some of these guys come in when they're praised so highly at their last school where they were the king, and now you're a rookie. And how are you going to handle that on top of all the other physical aspects of it? I'm really excited and interested to see that process too, with how he actually soaks that all in.
I think there's one area where this defense will be similar to the Shane Bowen, Mike Vrabel scheme as well. Just the amount of times they blitz. This defense is not going to blitz very much. It is going to send for. It is going to play press man. It's going to be aggressive or in ways where defensive backs can be an aggressive attacking style. But I think when they do blitz, everyone's going to know it. and you're going to feel it, is ultimately where Denard Wilson wants to be. The Ravens last year blitzed on 21.9% of dropbacks. The Titans were at 22%. That is in the bottom third of the NFL, both of those numbers. So you're relying a lot on your front four to get home and to affect the quarterback and push the pocket. But I think with the sentiment of attacking defense, people think, oh, they're just going to blitz all the time. That is not necessarily the case, no.
No, it's not.
You're just going to pick and choose your moments where you're going to go all out when you do blitz, is the way I see it.
That's why it's crucial on him to be very unselfish in his approach to being the defensive tackle in this defense.
615-737-1045 at halftime of the show. Greg Sankey on SEC expansion. Nick Saban on that other UT. We'll play you what you need to hear coming up next.
What's going on? Just a hair before 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. It was another busy day for the Tennessee Volunteers turning pro as 4 more members of the Big Orange were selected in rounds 3 through 10 for the 2024 MLB Draft last night. The second selection of the whole night. All-American pitcher Drew Beam selected 76 overall by the Kansas City Royals. Kavaris Tears went next at 134 overall, a compensatory pick to the San Diego Padres in the 4th round. Right-handed pitcher A.J. Causey was a 5th-round selection of the Kansas City Royals, joining his teammate Drew Beam in the Midwest. And finally, Aaron Combs selected 229th overall in the 8th round by the Chicago White Sox. 1 week away from the Titans hitting the field for training camp. 104.5 The Zone will be out there, but some NFL teams reporting today. Those teams include the Bills, the Bears, Chargers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Giants, Saints, and the 49ers. Lakers fall to the Celtics in Summer League action 88-74, but Dalton Knecht continues the score streak and to stuff the stat box. 19 points to go along with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show and hour number 3 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will starts right now on your radios and on your smart devices. 104.5 The Zone TV, the place to go around the globe for RKW. Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.
Please.
Beat them.
If you're looking for us on Twitter, you will not find us there. You got to go to YouTube. It's a place we recommend anyway.
It is, straight up. That's where we can interact with you.
615-737-1045, how you join the discussion. Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3 coming up in 20 minutes. VolQuest has a one-on-one exclusive interview this morning with Tennessee inside linebacker Keenan Peely that Austin will be able to give us some insight to. If you are not a VolQuest subscriber and you are a Vols fan, you are being a Vols fan wrong. It is a must-have if you are a Tennessee fan, affordable and informational. So Greg Sankey yesterday says 16 is our today and 16 is our tomorrow. We are focused on our 16 schools, adding, we know who we are in the Southeastern Conference. We're the one conference at this level where the name still means something.
Yeah, no surprise here that he got asked the question, but I think we were not surprised either at the answer of his question. That is Greg Sankey for you. If anything, he is going to speak about the now and the state of the conference as of adding Texas and Oklahoma. It's their first year. I think Greg Sankey has always been good as a commissioner, not getting too far ahead of himself, but also knowing how to make sure the future is bright and how not to fall back into situations like maybe how the Pac-12 fell back into a situation where you're never looking ahead. He's found a masterful plan how to do that. And that's why I think by far he's the best commissioner out of any league, because he has progressed this conference, but not done it in a way where it's overly saturated. And I think that's what you have to be careful with at this point with this conference. With the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, it looks like they're in a good spot. And it looks like they have their, ways that they've managed the schedule. And maybe that will be tweaked in the future if they want to make it better. You kind of live through the process sometimes. But I think adding 2 more schools right now, or whatever it might be, dilutes the product just a little bit, because you still have just added 2. You need to get that right and make sure that with these 2 additions, it's just as strong as it was 5 years ago before you decide to add a Florida State and a Clemson, and then you got to shuffle the schedules again. And then you got to change, travel situations again, and logistics come into play. So I don't think this will be an expansion conversation in the next few years at least, and then we'll see what happens with conferences in general to see what happens in the next 5 years.
It is, and he's smart in his wording too. One of the most boastful things he said yesterday, because he was really, I ain't gonna say vanilla about it, but he just gave you the answer that you knew was there. He said the SEC is the last conference where name actually means something. And that was backed up. 3HL, who was, I think, Michael Griffin was on with them.
Yep.
And
Titans
they were going
legend.
back and forth. Texas legend, 100% Titans legend, too. Mm-hmm. Went on to say, if anything, Texas has already been a brand. But what Texas has now, what they didn't have in the past, is they got that SEC patch. And it means something. And I think those other two teams, Clemson and Florida State, they understand that, too. Florida State was at a spot that Tennessee was also. Now they're back to where they're pumping out wins and everybody's speaking about them too. The SEC would do more for Florida State than I think Florida State would do for the SEC. And I think Sankey knows that. He acknowledged, yeah, I know, we've talked, but I'm not here to recruit. You want us, come to us. If you want us, bring something to the table, because that means we got to split the pot again. And that may mean growth. Of course, SEC's already is in Florida and in the Carolinas. So what more can you want?
Yeah.
I'm here to build this brand, see how many more partnerships we can get. They just got another Apple partnership.
Yeah, they did.
So he understands. You're right, Kayla. He's one of the best, if not the best commissioner in all of sports. Roger Goodell may be there with him, or Roger Goodell may be a step above him because he's got the NFL. But he's doing it the correct way, acknowledging it, but not paying attention to it. He got the girl, and he's dating the girls now, 16 of them.
And he has the TV deal as well. And that's, I think, where the difference between him and Brent Yormark of the Big 12 is that adding speculation about other brands joining your conference adds value for the Big 12. There is nothing that you could really do to add a significant amount of value to sponsors and to television agreements by floating out these like abstract ideas, right? Like if the Big 12 goes out there and says like, oh, we're talking, maybe Florida State and Clemson, well, all of a sudden that TV deal gets maybe a little bit more attractive, that they would like to raise the profile of a little bit and get some more couch change for their schools. There's nothing Greg Sankey's going to say that's really going to add a significant amount of monetary value to what his schools are getting, because they already have one of, if not the best deals in terms of television and revenue in all of college sports.
And the conversation changes every day, every single day when it comes to these conferences and who they're going to add. I mean, for example, just this morning, Brett McMurphy tweeted out 2 minutes ago from the Action Network. He said, Big Ten SEC unlikely to add Florida State, obviously, if it leaves ACC and ACC survives. So that's still a conversation. It could survive. Big Ten and SEC don't want FSU because adding FSU doesn't make financial sense, no desire to expand, and they've, quote, they have been a disruptive partner, sources say.
Ooh. There you go.
You don't want to always deal with a pain in the you-know-what.
Can't turn him into a housewife, basically, right? What he's saying. I'm joking, but that is quite funny that's the case with them. Florida State's a nice brand, and so is Clemson, too. Both got national championships. Both got sweet, I'm telling you, hot recruiting beds as far as everything around them, but they have been, they're suing the conference right now, and it's mostly because of money and just shares and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. They're ready to leave and look for brighter pastures. But I think it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of money, too, from them.
Yeah, it's interesting. One source saying, why would anyone want to expedite more chaos by adding Florida State?
Yeah.
Another source, what is the upside of Florida State? We got what we needed by adding USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. And Oregon and Washington were added at 50 cents on the dollar to help USC and UCLA. Yep. Who would Florida State help, and at what cost, and most importantly, who's going to pay for it? It's 100% right. You're not going to split the same pot in more directions to have someone that's in current litigation with their current conference and then make everyone else in your conference angry because now they're getting less of the same pot. Unless you can restructure an entire television deal around two schools coming in and get more for everyone, then you could add two schools or one school or whatever. And that's what the Big Ten has done, right? They've added more, but they got a new television deal, so there was more to split. by increasing that value. And for the SEC, like adding Tallahassee and Clemson does not add any television market you don't already have. You already have the state of Florida and their television markets. You already have the state of South Carolina, and their television markets aren't even really that valuable to begin with versus big cities like Dallas, who you added when you got A&M, and big city like St. Louis and Austin and things of that nature. So interesting, though.
Yeah, and Emmett
From Brett
Jones says
McMurphy.
both have rabid fan bases. That's great. And that's a big part of the culture side, but exactly what Will said. It market size-wise, they don't give a damn.
No, I mean,
They don't give a damn.
Everybody's got rabid fan bases in Power 5 college football.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Clemson and FSU are, blue bloods in that sense, but.
Yeah, we got to see what Clemson turns into, because as it stands right now, everybody's picking apart the Carolinas for recruits. And on top of that,
the NIL thing is non-existent.
Well, you even got the Tar Heels now, who historically, to me, has never been considered a football school. And they had a top 5 quarterback pick this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did Clemson have a high first? I think the DB, if I'm not mistaken, to Baltimore.
They had Brzee, too, at defensive line.
2 years ago, wasn't it?
Brzee, yeah.
Yeah, 2
I
years
was
ago.
talking about the last couple of years. They've had some. They had Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
Corner.
So it's been there. What I'm saying is they got to also prove that this is going to be sustainable to them with this new NIL era that they're dealing with. When their coach, I think he's into it somewhat, but he's got rules and parameters on how they're using NIL in Clemson.
Yeah, only so far you can go when a Sweeney kid is still throwing fake field goals. Nick Saban yesterday in Dallas talking about Texas, talking about his former offensive coordinator, now head coach at Texas, of course, and Steve Sarkisian, with a little word of warning to the Longhorns.
You know, what kind of tickles me is all these people asking these questions about how Texas always ran the conference they were in. They're not going to run the SEC. Right? 'Cause there's a whole lot of arrogant people in a lot of places in the SEC, so they can forget all about that. They'll be a good team and a great program, and Sark will do a great job, but that's not going to be a problem.
I think Nick Saban is going to be a 5-star talent. 10 out of 10 A+ talent on television. Because if he's willing to say things like that with a smile on his face, and he's just now getting comfortable talking into microphones, I am so excited for Nick Saban, the TV analyst. I'm going to be honest with you.
He's always been good, but he can't, like you said, when he was coaching, he could only say so much. But, that's Nick Saban for you. He is a little man with a lot to say, and rightfully so, because he's done it at the highest level in college football and won.
That's very far from I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, didn't it
he's
sound
willing
like that
to
tone?
talk now.
I love and hate this for Nick Saban because of this. I had a moment in a game where I was trash talking to players so bad, and it got to a point where the center, it wasn't Pouncey, it was like the center, Moan, stop, man, you ain't got to block him. I'm the one that got to face him every day. Nick Saban's pretty much putting everybody else on notice, dog, that ain't your fight no more. And he's just so loud. It's like, Nick, you can't be saying this. We still got to play and coach and scheme these guys. You get to sit in the booth and collect $2 million a year because of this, man. Probably more than that, but
Kalen DeBoer is like, please don't give them any more bulletin board material. We are good.
He's never going to hold back. That's
he's
for
the
sure.
biggest bulletin board material ever right now. Can you imagine that game?
Because he's probably been holding it in all these years, you know?
This is what he used to think as a coach. We're not worried about them. Are y'all serious right now? I couldn't imagine him internally speaking to himself. We're about to murder these guys.
It is interesting how so many of the most boring quotes in sports are sometimes the most entertaining guys behind closed doors. But we know that about Bill Belichick. And the little insights we've had about Bill, we know it about Saban. I think we know that about Mike Vrabel to an extent. Interesting.
I love this. I'll be honest. I never imagined him saying, we ain't worried about Texas.
I love
that. That is so good by him. That makes me smile. If we could really tell our truths as players and as coaches, my God.
As anybody.
I love that yesterday, too, when Paul Feinbaum was on ESPN on Get Up and said, this has been the worst 6 months of my life. Nick Saban, ever since he retired, has given me nothing to talk about. He's ruined the last 6 months of my life. And Nick Saban responded and said, well, you ruined the last 16 years of mine, so call us even.
Love-hate relationship
VFL, Paul Feinbaum.
Hey, Feinbaum has
Daily Beacon alumnus.
Who put
Paul
him
Feinbaum
on the Monday quarterback list? Because he was all over Colorado and everything.
Maybe we can find that audio for later. It's pretty good.
To be old and just have a loose mouth. Well, you say whatever you want to.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
He's getting paid to do it.
Coming up, VolQuest's Austin Price joins us. The most interesting storylines around Tennessee's trip around SEC Media Days and pending commitments won over the weekend and other big targets that are coming up shortly for Josh Heupel and Tennessee football. VolQuest's Austin Price gives us the latest coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster here for Artisan Custom Closet. Also a little music with me too, okay? But it's time to say goodbye to the clutter and hello to calm with Artisan Custom Closets, all right? They are proud sponsors of your Nashville Predators. But y'all know, like I know, summer's here, which means kids are running around, outdoor activities, lawn care, pool parties, you name it. It all happens in your garage and everybody walks in. Well, guess what? Transform your garage and outdoor space into a space of calm and organization, all right? Here's the thing about it. Artisan Custom Closets, they are local. It's not a large chain business. Not only is it local, but their products are manufactured in the Southeast, and they're not cookie cutter items either. They are customized to suit your home. So start with our free in-house design consultation and take advantage of the multiple financing options to make getting organized easier than ever, all right? Bring some calm and get organized. You can call them at 615-800-2199 or visit them at artisancustomclosets.com. Here are some facts about engagement rings you need to know. There are 10 premier bridal designers every woman knows about. They're like the Mercedes or the Louis Vuitton of engagement rings. They're world-class, iconic, quality names like Tacori and Verragio. These designers are hard to get, and every jewelry store wants them, but very few make the cut. So they have to settle for lesser brands or even knockoffs. Around here, there's only one jewelry store that offers these premium rings, and it's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis is the only one that made the cut. That meets the highest standards. Genesis is the only store that's allowed to offer these exceptional brands that women really want. Other stores are jealous of this and will try and convince you these are more expensive and try to get you to settle for something else. But the truth is, Genesis has top quality designer rings for under $2,000. And it's not about the price either. It's about the craftsmanship, the quality, and detail and individuality. So don't compromise and please don't settle. Get her a world-class ring she will be proud to wear. Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs and also home to the state's largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
The glass breaks and we talk Vols Tuesday mornings here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will with the best of the best. Covering Tennessee athletics, our good friends from VolQuest and On 3, Austin Price, who joins us here on the phones this morning as Tennessee gets set to make the rounds in Dallas. Happy talking season, Austin. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We are good. Obviously, SEC Media Day is not the spectacle it once was when a certain visored coach would make the rounds in Hoover, Alabama. But if there's one thing you are interested to hear from Josh Heupel, Keenan Peely, Cooper Mays, and Omari Thomas today, Austin, what is it?
You know, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I don't know the real answer because, I think that they go in with this kind of out of the 4 teams going today, they've got the least fanfare, which is just like Josh Heupel wants. They probably have, the least sexy group of players going, which is, I think, what Josh Heupel wants. I think he just wants to get in, get out, and get back to Knoxville and get back to work because, this event is not a Heupel type event. I mean, he does it because everybody does it, but, I don't think he's sitting here going, man, I can't wait to get to Hoover or Atlanta or Nashville or, in this case, Dallas. He is one that is, just kind of more, ready to kind of put his, nose back to the grindstone a little bit. And that's kind of the 3 players that are there. I mean, veterans, they're not going to say anything flashy. And, again, out of the 4 today, I think Tennessee is, the least sexy of the 4. And I would say the biggest thing I would like to hear is all those guys say, our goal is the CFP, because I think that is the main goal inside the football building. Put yourself in the playoff, give yourself a chance, and let it go from there.
VolQuest's Austin Price, our guest. You can also hear an exclusive interview with one of those players, Keenan Peely, at VolQuest.com this morning. Brent Hubbs, an exclusive chat with Tennessee's super senior inside linebacker. Austin, can you give us just a preview of what fans can get out of that conversation and a cool one-on-one chat that you guys got exclusively?
Yeah, and I've got to sit down with Cooper Mays coming in
nice.
In a little over an hour, and Rob has a sit down with Omari Thomas. With Keenan, I think Brent's, the biggest takeaway I can go back to when Brent sat down with him was just kind of his thought process, the bus ride home after Nashville, when he tore the triceps, the few weeks, after that, and then just kind of where he's at now. He's back full go and really ready to kind of go. And he was pretty open about just learning to listen to his body because he's such a competitor that if he basically told Brent and I, hey, if I feel anything wrong, I've got to be willing to say, hey, I need to take today off. Continuing to push through things, maybe when you don't feel great is something he's just always done. But at this point in his career, Tennessee needs him on the field. So if you miss a day or two of practice in fall camp, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, Tennessee needs him on the field this fall, and I think that's something that he has to kind of, come to grips with is, pushing through, not always having to be out there, letting some of the younger guys take some reps, and so on and so forth.
So, Austin, on the recruiting front, Tennessee gets a big target in 4-star wide receiver Travis Smith, picking the Vols over Georgia over the weekend. What does this staff like the most about him, and what ultimately made the difference for Tennessee over the Bulldogs in this recruitment?
Size, length. Tennessee wanted a bigger outside receiver for this final spot. They love what they have in Rodarius Jackson. They love what they have in Joakim Dotson. They wanted a tall, lanky guy, and that's exactly what they got. I think Travis Smith's going to be a monster. When you put him in a college weight room and you let him fill out and you let him put muscle mass on, he's going to be big. He's already big now, but he's going to be imposing big when you get him in the college weight room. So they love the length, the size, and that's exactly what Josh Heupel loves out of an outside guy. And so they're super stoked about getting Travis Smith done, and they love this trio of wide receivers on top of the 2 they got last year with Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews. So a nice couple of years for Kelsey Pope. He's done a really nice job. He had targeted Travis Smith well over a year ago, and they worked to go get that one done, and he was able to do it.
Austin Price with us this morning. Austin, you segued right into my question I was going to lead you into. We're speaking about the weight room this morning, man, and we're looking at some of these updates from some of these players that have gained weight / put on muscle mass, man. Is there nothing more exciting to a strength and conditioning coach hearing, if you can't speak about these guys, Trevor Duncan putting on 30 pounds, Caleb Herring putting on 23 pounds, and a young man that I'm super ecstatic about this year to see what he's going to do is David Hobbs putting on 10 to get up to 300 pounds, man. What does it mean for them and this team moving forward?
Well, I think it's big. And, Kurt Schmidt, the Tennessee strength coach, he gets less fanfare than any strength coach that's been through here in the last 15 years post Johnny Long. And there's been a lot. I think Tennessee went 6 straight years with a different D-line coach. At one point, after Phillip was fired and Dan Brooks left, they've had almost as many strength coaches. I mean, it's gross the change in philosophies they would go to, at different times. And he's been the steady force since Josh Heupel's been here. You don't ever hear him talked about, you don't see anybody writing about him or anything. And the team just, physically, it's ready to go. And they look more like an SEC roster right now than they have in a long, long time. They're big up front on both sides of the ball. And, I think the players like Hobbs, players like Caleb Herring that you mentioned are going to benefit from it. And I think that this team's poised to kind of fly under the radar, and be right there with a chance come football season.
With that being said, so I know a young man that needed to put on a little weight was also the freshman who's enrolling, Jordan Ross, right? Or how, if given the opportunity that, of course, James Pierce is going to have a target, bullseye, highlight, spotlight, every light you can have on him this year, right? Who is one of those young edge rushers that you somewhat need, that we need to count on? Is it Jordan Ross? Is it somebody else that have to be able to supplement production if he's getting double teamed?
Well, the first person you're going to look at is Josh Josephs. He's same class as James Pierce. That first year, Josh Josephs got more acclaim than James Pierce. And then, James Pierce just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger and took off and ran with it. Josephs has put on some nice weight, is I think more poised to be a consistent contributor off the edge this fall. But if not him, then it would be Caleb Herring and Jordan Ross. I mean, Jordan Ross arrived over 240 pounds without ever having been in the college weight room. He's now like 245 or whatever he is. I mean, he has the frame. He's going to be a monster. And Caleb Herring, same type thing. Like, the frame was always there. And when he arrived and got in there and they gave him the peanut butter milkshakes and all the stuff that you and I don't need, Ramon.
Yeah. We mentioned that earlier, Hubs. Okay, Will asked me what was my best game weight shake. I was like, Will, I was never on that plan, okay?
Did you hear him call me Hubs, guys?
Unbelievable.
I did.
Unbelievable.
I get this out of the other one most weeks. Now I'm getting it out of the
No, Austin, don't do this. Oh, I got you some coffee when I see you, okay? I'll put a little Kahlua in there for you.
Kahlua, Lord help. But yeah, I mean, like, they have so many quality bodies on the edge, and that's again a spot that for several years Tennessee just struggled to recruit. And I think what they've continued to do in this past class or this current class with Marion Dye and some others, I mean, it should be exciting and for fans because they love to see guys go get the quarterback and get sacks. And James Pierce is at the top of the class, but I love some of these young guys that they have. I think they're going to be really spectacular as well. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of who steps up. I'm going to lean Joseph as of right now, but it won't surprise me at all if Herring or Jordan Ross, who I think will get plenty of opportunities, has an impact as well.
Austin Price of VolQuest joining us this morning on RKW with SEC Media Days opening up yesterday in Dallas. Today we are going to see the Tennessee trio. Of course, Josh Heupel leading the way, but Amari Thomas, Cooper Mays, and Keenan Peely. What do you expect to get out of this group today? What do you think some of the focus will be on?
I think you'll hear them asked a lot about James Pierce, the defensive guy, or Keenan Peely will be. And, I think that there'll be a lot of talk about Nico. Nico is one of the only couple quarterbacks that are not attending SEC Media Days. And I think Josh Heupel wanted him, he's only got the one start, wanted him to, not have to go through the rigors of all the questions and all. Everybody knows that Nico would have got 1,000 NIL questions. And I think a year from now, if Nico plays this fall like, everybody hopes he does, a year from now, I would be floored, flabbergasted, and stunned, to use a few adjectives, if he wasn't at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. But for this year, I think they just wanted to go with kind of a more mundane, ho-hum, older trio. And, Amari Thomas did it last year. So this is back-to-back years for him. Cooper Mays knows how to handle himself in the media. He'll probably have a little bit of fun with it, knowing his personality. And then Keenan Peedley, another guy who's just going to kind of, get in, get out, and all that. But I think they'll be asked a lot about Nico. They'll be asked a lot about expectations and, go from there.
Austin, you kind of mentioned it too, and we've heard it maybe throughout the last month or so as we're gearing up for college football season, but just the maybe Tennessee being underrated. Why do you think that is? Is it just because the additions of Texas, the additions of Oklahoma, and all the buzz they get, or is it just because maybe last year they didn't live up to that potential offensively with Joe Milton?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit of a combination of everything. I mean, you had Texas and Oklahoma in the league, and Texas has got so much coming back, and you had Isaiah Bond and a few other players. They're a sexy pick. Missouri and Ole Miss have much easier schedules than Tennessee. And I think, when you look at those two teams, they both have their quarterback coming back. That's a big deal. I mean, Tennessee has Nico coming back. Nico only played one game a year ago. So when you look at, Jackson Dart and Cook and those two guys, have a whole season of experience, if not more, and their schedules are just a lot easier. Let's face it. I mean, Tennessee, for the millionth year in a row, will play, to me, the top two teams in this league, Georgia and Alabama. And when you have to play those teams every year, not counting, Florida's been a thorn in your side, especially when it's in Gainesville, not this year, but, half the years. And you sprinkle in a few other teams, I mean, it's just really hard to overcome the schedule. And so when you look at the schedule, you look at the fact that, Tennessee, has a younger quarterback who's not got a ton of experience. I think that's the biggest reason why you see them. They're still picked to finish in the top third of the league. It's still, but, as far as like, will they make the playoff? People are going to have them on that fringe, probably on the out, but they can easily be on that fringe on the in. And I think this first month of the season is going to be pivotal. And when I sit down with Cooper, he talks about that. You have 2 road games and a neutral site game before you ever get to a real meaningful home game, which is Florida, October 12th. So, that first month is pivotal. They know it. They know they got to get off to a quick start, and they're going to do it basically on the road. And if they're able to do that, then watch out, because that means they'll play, 2 of their road games, and won them, and won a neutral site game against an NC State team that everyone seems to be loving up pretty good after they had some key off-season additions. So it's a team that I think likes being under the radar. It's an older group of veterans that they're not going to pay attention to where they're picked to finish or any of that. They're just going to kind of get ready for fall camp and, roll the ball out and go play.
Yeah, they got a 96 overall quarterback there at NC State in Grayson McCall on College Football 25. Austin, the next commitment on schedule potentially for Tennessee, Christian Goss announcing his commitment this upcoming weekend. Linebacker from Covington, Georgia. What is the latest on this recruitment, and what does Tennessee like about him at the inside linebacker spot, a position where they might be able to add a couple of guys in these next few months?
Yeah, they love his versatility. He can play inside. He can play outside wheel. He's a kid that just is continuing to rise in the rankings, continues to flash. And so if they're able to pull him out of the state of Georgia on Saturday, it will be it'll be a big coup, because Georgia's pushing hard there. Feel like Tennessee did a tremendous job in the month of June with Christian Gass, and feel like they have a ton of momentum there. So we'll see if everything lines up. Come Saturday, I think he'll do something around 1 o'clock, thereabouts, and we'll see what happens. So 1 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. I know I'm in Eastern time zone, and you guys are in Central. So, and most of your listeners are in Central. So, again, I think Tennessee's got a lot of momentum there, but again, they still got to get that one to the finish line come Saturday.
He is our 99 overall rated guest Tuesdays on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3. Austin, excellent stuff as always. We appreciate you.
Yes, indeed.
Appreciate you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Austin.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Austin
Austin.
Price on a little bit of Vols being underrated conversation. He makes a good point that today is really a who's who of talent. All 4 teams will be aiming for a playoff berth that make the rounds at SEC Media Days today. And I think he's right that Josh Heupel will be perfectly fine with that.
For sure. Yeah.
It's a
good point.
long way he's come from when he first came into. Wasn't he like a last day or a first day guy the first time around, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, I was
That
down
first
there.
year.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
It was, I think it was the end of the day.
End of the day.
Like it was like
Okay.
the middle of the. It wasn't the last day, but it was. There was not a ton of fanfare around it.
Yeah. Again, I love to revisit conversations we had on the initial hiring. We had, remember everybody, I think you might have been the first one, was just like, well, I don't want to be boring and bad. That's what he was going to bring to the
is what I
Vols.
said.
And a lot of folks somewhat, I think, adopted that. Even in the losing games, like forever, how big of a moment was at Georgia. I mean, this past year against Georgia, like you get a little bit more of that, continue to chip at that rock against the Bulldogs because they're turning away 4 stars. You know what I'm saying?
That is the interesting part, that Tennessee has a chance to add 2 inside linebackers in Georgia's recruiting footprint that Georgia wants, in Jaden Parlati and Christian Gass, who commits on Saturday. Parlati, who is currently committed to Georgia, who's expected to flip to Tennessee, and then Gass, who Georgia wants too. Those are meaningful recruiting battles. If you beat Georgia for an inside linebacker, that's impressive. That's surprising to me, and it's also impressive.
That's the world that they live.
Right.
It's been the linebackers.
615-737-1045. Mike in Cleveland, hang on. We'll get to you coming up in our next segment, and we've got to listen to this national anthem.
It's so
I have still
pathetic.
not heard it.
Oh my God.
I honestly like Ingrid Andress
Well,
too.
you're not
She
gonna
has a
like her after
song.
this.
She has a song that I really like. I've actually seen her live, randomly enough, opening up for a concert that I went to.
Whoa. Did you get your money back?
We'll hear it next.
Ooh. It's Ramon and Kayla here for Window Nation, where they have going on right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. And y'all know, like I know, it's hot out here, man, and cooling your house is more expensive than ever. So if you got old, inefficient windows, they are costing you hundreds of dollars a year in your energy bills, man. Windows is all Window Nation do. They are truly experts at it, with 96% of their customers having no follow-up service.
That is exactly right. And you know what time of the year it is here in Middle Tennessee is the hot time of the year, hot and humid. And that means the AC is probably blasting. I know, I recently saw the AC bill and thought, okay, yeah, that's a little bit too high. But if you got new windows from New Window Nation, you probably are able to keep in that energy a little bit more and save some money while you're at it. So go ahead and check out our friends from Window Nation. You can simply call them at 866-90-NATION and check out their semi-annual sale, 50% off all styles of windows, 0 interest for 5 years, and an additional bonus discount if you book an appointment this week. So check out our friends at windownation.com.
Rolling through hour number 3 on your Tuesday morning, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We got Ron Slay on deck coming up in a half hour from Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Dallas. 615-737-1045. One of our favorites, Mike in Cleveland. I feel like it's a Monday after a Titans loss.
Honk, honk.
Michael.
Hearing from Mike in Cleveland. Hello, Mike.
Yeah.
What up? What up, y'all? What up, partners? Yeah, Will, you got to stop setting me up like that, man.
Oh, come on, man.
You got to, you got these people expecting the old cousin Mike. I can't give them that.
No, it's the triumphal entry. Prepare ye, make the way for Mike in Cleveland.
Chill out.
Oh, now he don't want the spot.
Trumpets are blaring, Mike. You got to live up to the hype.
Mom, don't do that. I'll embarrass you and tell everybody what a great man you is. Okay, I will humble you for it. Okay.
Goofball. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, dog. Yo, I just want to call in and give some comments. I didn't get to hear the Jeff interview yesterday, and so I'm just talking about these Titans and this coaching staff. Why does it feel like we got more confidence in this coaching staff than the past few seasons? With Vrabel, feels like going into the last 3 seasons, we had a whole bunch of questions and Kayla, KK, like you said earlier, confusion as far as with the coaching staff. And I don't know, I'm just starting to feel like there's more questions on if these players are going to stand up to what this coaching staff, what we have seen them do in their previous jobs, whereas the years before it seemed like all the questions was on the coaching staff. If they were going to raise up what they had did previous year, seemed like Vrabel was just. I'm going to put it like this. It seemed like we was making it up as we went, and now it's like we got a certified game plan with this coaching staff, and now we just need the players to go out and execute that game plan. And I'm feeling good. It's early. I'm still a little skeptic. I'm still waiting to see if Levis is that guy. If we don't have to argue that he should be at least in the top 10 argument, but I'm feeling good about this coaching staff. Real tiggity. And yeah, man. So I just wanted to call and say that. Much love to y'all. You did. Y'all keep doing y'all stuff. This one, keep rocking it out. Will, stop setting me up like this. All right? Much love.
Mike in Cleveland.
I do feel like it's football season just with that call
That's
alone.
right.
I know.
I really do. And hopefully we will have more celebratory Mondays than we did last year, because I will say we didn't get to talk to many players on the show because Reaction Monday was usually an L.
Yeah, it was. Mike makes a great point, too. We're talking about a coaching staff and not worrying about the planning. I thought that was a good point by him. You're right. And I think it's because of the history that these guys have had with the places that they've been, and you worry more about the performance of the dudes. Now we're talking football. Mm-hmm. Now we're not talking identities as much anymore.
It's also interesting, too, because Mike Vrabel, as a defensive-minded coach, he was the head coach, right? And he, though, seemed responsible for every single thing. It's almost like, and Mike did his things the way he did it, and he had some success. Absolutely. Every coach is different. But it looks like with this new staff, it's transparency out of the gate from the jump. It's Brian Callahan kind of zeroing in on the offensive part of things and running that. And then letting, again, like I said earlier, Denard Wilson kind of take control of the defensive duties. So you're putting a lot more trust in the people around you to help. And sometimes I think that's the best recipe for success.
The national anthem was sung last night at the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby. Oh, my God. And it was apparently very bad. I have not heard this. Oh. This is Ingrid Andress. I don't know if we'll have time to react to it much anymore, but here it is in all its glory. The Home Run Derby national anthem.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Okay.
And the rocket's red glare.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
surrender cobering. That's not even the worst part right there. That wasn't that bad.
Oh, say does that star-spangled
All Stars fans classic. Oh no. No.
For the land of the free.
The worst part.
Oh no. There we go.
Where you at?
That poor girl.
Oh my gosh.
That
She
poor
chose
girl.
to sing it.
Ingrid Andress, I'm so sorry. That's sad.
Where
You
you
chose
at?
to sing it.
Where you at, Will?
That's really sad. I feel mean. I feel like we're being
I
mean.
don't.
She gets paid a lot of
Yeah.
money to sing. Like, just don't do it in front of people anymore.
Yeah.
Just do it in a studio where you're good at it.
Where they can tailor your
That's
voice.
the point. Let your engineers work the voice.
Yeah.
What you think?
Choose your fighter, that or Fergie.
Fergie.
I
Fergie
think
can actually sing.
I think
She can
this.
sing too.
She
Fergie-
can?
Yeah.
I can't tell. That's my first time hearing her. So to me, she's a non-singer.
I just think her because it never like at any point at the end. I think it got so bad that like there was no coming back. Fergie, at least you knew from the start was like a disaster, right?
First questions I had after I heard it was same thing, Duck. How was she a 4-time Grammy nominated?
Yeah, I think that didn't
Grammy
help
nominated
when they
artist?
introduced her that way.
Yeah, or as a writer too.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
I
Stop
think
trying to
that
save
set
it.
her
No,
up.
I
Stop
just
trying to
I
save
feel
it.
More
mean.
disaster.
No,
I feel like we're
Will.
being mean.
She
Nope.
treated us to this, and we needed this.
Marshall
we
on
remain-
YouTube says, "Good Lord, I needed that laugh. Poor girl. Bless your heart, sweetie."
And it was like you're pushing yourself at the end. Like just at least just make it simple. She like
Surprised a world war didn't start this morning. 615-737-1045 is our number. A very important update this morning out of Dallas. When we come back, we'll play the breaking news sounder as an SEC official has commented on horns down. Next.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a lack of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out, all right? At Lowy Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Lowy Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patient. The experts at Lowy Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients, with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for weekly visits. And at Lowy Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointments today. That's lowtcenter.com. Lowy Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What's going on? 9:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Another busy day for Tennessee Volunteers turning pro as 4 more members of the Big Orange selected in rounds 3 through 10 of the 2024 MLB Draft. Second selection of the whole day. All-American pitcher Drew Beam, who went 76 overall to the Kansas City Royals. Kavares Tears went next at 134 overall, compensatory pick by the San Diego Padres in the 4th round. Right-handed pitcher A.J. Causey in the 5th round to the Kansas City Royals, joining teammate Drew Beam. And finally, Aaron Combs selected 229th overall in the 8th round by the Chicago White Sox. 1 week away from the Titans hitting the field for training camp. 104.5 The Zone will be out there, but some NFL teams reporting today. Those teams include the Bills, Bears, Chargers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Giants, Saints, and 49ers. In the NBA Summer League, Lakers fall to the Celtics 88-74, but Dalton Knecht continued to add to his stat sheet. 19 points to go along with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show, 9 a.m. already in beautiful Music City, USA, as we welcome you in to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, myself, Will Bowling. Coming up in 15 minutes, 3HL and SEC Networks, Ron Slay will join the program from beautiful Dallas, Texas, as the Tennessee Volunteers make their way into the Omni Hotel, preparing to make the rounds at SEC Media Days 2024. Keenan Peely, Cooper Mays, Omari Thomas, and the head coach, Josh Heupel. 615-737-1045. I come to you with an urgent news bulletin from the Lone Star State.
Oh, boy.
This from John McDade, the SEC's coordinator of officials, on penalizing horns down. As Texas has been added into the SEC. Quote, unsportsmanlike conduct needs to fit one of 3 categories. Is it taunting an opponent? Is it making a travesty of the game? Is it otherwise compromising our ability to manage the game? He continues. There's a difference between a player giving a signal directly in face of an opponent as opposed to doing it with teammates after celebrating a touchdown or on the sideline. To net all that out, every single occurrence is not an act of unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh.
So,
there it is.
Horns down, not an automatic penalty in the Southeastern Conference. You had to let me finish. You had to let me finish. Nope.
Okay.
Things we like.
Oh, heck yeah.
So he said the same applies to players displaying the gator chomp and land shark signals. I cannot believe that the stupid land shark that Ole Miss does, a la Marshall Henderson, has made it in the same discussion as horns up. But essentially, if you do it right at a player or standing over a player, then you're going to get penalized.
Right.
If you do it with your teammates or with the boys, with the fellas, then you're all good. So who's back? Horns down.
Let's go.
Back in 2024.
We in that thing. Let's go, babe. I can't wait to do it. So as long as you're not face mask.
As long as you're not going right to a player, or as John McDade says, giving a signal directly in face of an opponent, you're good to go.
Oh, we can live with those rules.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
100% we can live with those rules right there. I was just hoping Texas didn't come in with the big oil money and try to make all these changes. But you know what?
No.
This ain't that, okay? This ain't the real world. It's the SEC, okay? Where we play and punish people on the field, and we can do what we want to as long as we don't get personal fouls. You know what I'm saying? So I'm for that.
Yeah, you can't cry about your horns being turned upside down when you come to the SEC.
Like, you know what? Beat them.
Exactly.
Stop them. Beat them. I think that's one thing to where the outside stuff, the backflip, the bat flips and stuff like that folks do, the over celebrating on touchdowns or, you know what I'm saying, like extended celebrations. You have an opportunity to, to right their wrongs by punishing them or beating them. That I do hate that part of sports, to where you can't trash talk and you can't show yourself. Like, I'll admit, some of the celebrations in the end zone is one thing, but
Right.
like to be in competition with somebody where they can get back at you, let them handle it on their own.
Right.
Love it. So, horns down available.
Sweet.
Congratulations this morning to Texas A&M fans. They will be allowed to do horns down as much as their hearts desire. It is funny watching A&M play baseball in person at the College World Series, which, by the way, Tennessee won. It was a national championship they won within the last month.
That was big news.
Yeah, huge.
I never heard of that.
Every time there are 2 outs in an inning, instead of every outfielders always like 2-way, they will do horns down to say there are 2 outs in an inning.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
We should do an RKW draft of biggest little brothers in sports.
Oh, boy.
A&M would be the number 1 pick, and it's not even close to Texas.
Did they really run away from him? I heard that, and I was like, I don't want to believe this.
Run away from them?
From
To the
Texas.
SEC?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Run away from Big 12.
I mean, their fight song is about sawing Bessie's horns off. Bevo's horns off. Literally, the
bet you
words
they're
of the Aggie
expensive.
warn him are saw varsity's horns off.
I love that. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's actually pretty good right there. Just give me the brisket out of it. We'll figure the rest of it out, okay?
Other headlines in Dallas this morning. Sonic, now a corporate sponsor of the SEC. They are catering to me
Hopefully they're open.
between Southwest Airlines and Sonic in the last week being SEC sponsors. 2 of the businesses I give my most amount of money to.
I don't know which one you're talking about because the Sonic I know has an S on the end of it, Will.
Oh, my
Sonics.
gosh. Here we go.
The ones I know just aren't open, so hopefully
Here we
they
go.
got one that's open all day.
Love this, okay? Love this.
In the Infinite Bank chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch, Taylor writes in, I think Will may be a secret Aggie, definitely a sympathizer.
Twitch, please. Will would never do that.
No. I do respect their fan base quite a bit, though. I think they're nice people.
Because you got a first-hand encounter. Because before that,
Multiple.
you thought they were extremely weird and not in a good way.
I still think they're weird.
But now you understand it.
But now I respect their weirdness. It's not even that I understand it. It's because they also know they're weird. If you're weird and you own it, great. We can be friends.
That's fair.
If you're weird and your cultish traditions you think are totally normal and the coolest things in the world, Clemson, then I don't respect you. But you literally go up to an A&M fan and you say, like, you guys are a weird cult. They're like, thank you. At least we're not Texas.
At least
And then you shake hands and move forward.
They have that.
Yeah. I ain't ran into too many weird fan bases. Like, I hadn't ran into many Texas A&M ones. Auburn, to your point, is very...
Auburn's the other one.
They're thick here.
I don't think so. I think they're really friendly. Like, my experience
They're
first
friendly,
time was great tailgating with them.
They
I
just
was
have a
speaking
lot
on
of
the representation here.
on very unique traditions. I think Auburn is probably the 3rd biggest SEC fan base in the city of Nashville.
Who's two?
Oh, for sure.
Alabama.
I thought you said, what about Vandy?
Okay.
I wouldn't put Vandy in my top 3.
Do not go there.
It's close to football season, Kayla.
I know it is.
Well, no, it's I mean, it's
I
the
know it
truth.
is.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Alabama, and
Rubbing
Auburn are the
salt in the
3
wound.
biggest SEC fan bases in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of Vandy grads come back here.
It's okay.
They
Which
don't.
is fine.
That's tough. Well, most people don't usually go back to their graduating city anyway, though, for the most part.
I've
just
always
depends.
wanted to live in Pullman, Washington my
You
whole
have?
life. I went to school there, and that was a great, opportunity because it's a college town. I would never live in Pullman, Washington.
I didn't know if I was taking you serious. I know you love Washington State. I was just like, okay. I thought you were serious. My bad.
Paul in Franklin, 615-737-1045. What's up, Paul?
It's great to be alive and be in Tennessee.
Sure
How y'all
is.
doing today?
Good, Paul.
Good,
Wonderful.
Paul. Good morning, Paul.
I want to get on here and talk about Texas. That's what I want to talk about. Let me tell you something. I've been making them mad on social media anyway. We're talking about the real UT. I used to tell them, I said, the whole state of Texas, much less a university, y'all wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for Tennessee. I said, y'all ain't even our little brother. Y'all our son. That makes them mad. They can't stand that. But I want to talk about them just for a second. Oklahoma, God bless Oklahoma and their fans. They are terrified of Texas. They are. I'm telling you. Will, I talk to them all the time. Big Ragu, Kayla, I talk to them all the time. They are terrified of Texas. And Texas is going to come in here and run the SEC. And I had to explain to them, look, in the Little 12 is what we call it. Y'all got Baylor, Texas Tech, whomever else they got over there. I said, in the SEC, you got powerhouse traditional programs like Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Auburn, and now you got Oklahoma in there with us. I said, that lineup, nobody runs over that lineup, and Texas ain't either. They just going to have to get in line and play ball. Hey, that's my comment. Football's on the way. God bless y'all. Go Vols, tighten up.
Cut a promo then,
There you go,
Paul.
Paul.
There we go. We got all
Get
the
'em,
regulars
Paul.
checking in this morning. I love it. We're just assembling the Avengers of
I know.
regular RKW callers.
I just loved the little 12. That actually fits really well. I'm going to ask the commissioner if he'd accept that as the conference name.
No doubt. No doubt.
Important
little
update
12.
this morning from Kirby Smart. Did you guys see yesterday where Nick Saban was denied entry
Yeah,
into
because of
SEC Media
credentials.
Days because he did not have his media credential on?
Welcome to the club.
Kirby Smart opens his comments, his filibuster that every coach does at SEC Media Days by saying, I want it on the record that I got in here today without a credential.
Oh, God, Kirby.
Really?
Of course you
So
play
just
off
another
of
area
that,
where Kirby is better than Nick Saban.
Here's the thing. They're friends, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
So
of
it's
course
good.
they are.
I
They
love
work
that.
together.
Yeah, I love that.
think it's
type of
great.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Pretty funny.
That's good.
Anyway, welcome. It's funny, the security person apparently told him, like, I know who you are, but I still can't let you in. I respect it.
That's wild. That's a hard thing to do. It's like when they ID people that are like 80 years old and the people are like, I'm on my deathbed almost. Like, why are you IDing me to have a drink?
Saban said, I've never worn a credential in my life and was always, for 17 years, able to get into Media Day without a credential. Had to go back to the room today and get it.
Yeah.
I know with bartenders, they have to check if your license is expired also.
Sure.
Yeah, 'cause you can't, technically, if your license is expired, you're not supposed to get a beverage.
Which is so
Yeah.
stupid. Like my expired license changes my freaking birthday.
Right?
But whatever.
That's right.
Sounds kind of personal.
Sounds
there,
like I've been
Somebody
bitten by
hurt
that
you.
bug before.
Did you have real life experience?
Why are they giving us paper licenses anyway? You know what I mean? Why are they giving us?
That's true.
Oh, here's a piece of paper. Are you joking?
Yeah.
No one will serve me with this. Yes, they will. No, they won't. It's okay.
So when you head to the ballot this November, vote Bert in 2024.
Might be
Coming up
what I'm
next,
voting for anyway.
Ron Slay of 3HL at SEC Network live from Dallas, Texas. He will join us next.
United Structural Systems is a foundation repair and waterproofing company that has served Middle Tennessee since 1994 with more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. So when it's hot and dry weather, do you notice soil cracking and pulling away from your home, leaving holes or gaps next to the foundation? Are your bricks cracking, walls bowing, doors or windows sticking? These are all signs of possible foundation issues. Your house may be trying to tell you something. Also, waterproofing can include drainage and sealers, oftentimes both. Up to 50% of the air you breathe on the first floor of your home is the air that came from your crawl space. Think about that for a second. So control the moisture and create a healthier home for your family by encapsulating your crawl space. Many repairs that United Structural Systems give you are also guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. They've been serving Middle Tennessee since 1994. They aren't going anywhere. So when you work with a new guy in town, you have no guarantee that they will be around if you ever have to use that warranty. USS, we guarantee our best every single time. You can call them at 615-488-7855 or reach out to them online at USSTN.com.
RKW 104.5, The Zone, joined in the Lone Star State with the news bulletin that horns down will be allowed. We bring in Ron Slay here to Ramon, Kayla, and Will from Dallas at SEC Media Days. Slay, how we doing? Good morning.
Man, what's happening, man? They got me up early doing the D-Town boogie down here, you know. That's all, you know, just doing my thing in Texas. That's all, man. How y'all doing this morning?
Slay, have you heard the very breaking news that the SEC's head of officiating says horns down is not an automatic 15-yard penalty? I imagine you are very happy to hear this.
Absolutely. That means it's free reign and let it loose. Just throw horns down everywhere you go. When you're in the bathroom and you meet somebody, horns down. When you're in a restaurant, horns down. It's all good, man. In zone is all good. But this is the thing. How could you police that anyway? Yeah. Like when you come into a conference with the gated tongue, you got all kind of things, man, that's taking place. You can't go to each player and say, okay, we're going to put a special camera on you. Got a special camera on you. No, man, it's all in the dude. In the game, man. As long as you ain't being disrespectful in their face doing something, like, that's normal stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they came to their senses, and it's everything we thought it would be coming into the SEC. I think Texas just got to figure out how to deal with it now.
That's right. Ron Slay with us from Dallas at SEC Media Days. Slay, I'm told you guys may have had a first voyage into EA College Football 25. What do we think about the game last night?
Man, what I think about the game is, man, they got some glitches in it, man. And I don't know if Zeph, man, put me out here with this little janky PS5, like he had to blow on it, tap it on the side 2 times for it to even come on. I was like, I ain't never seen no PS5 do this. But I'm going to go on and sit down and play the game anyway, man. I sit down and play the game. All of a sudden, I know my X button on word, you know. So many things that I could blame it on, man. But Zeph is a lucky guy. That's what I'll leave it as, man. He caught me down bad. You know, I ain't played the game in about 8 years, man. Not saying that's an excuse or anything, but it's different when you got kids out here, man. You got adulthood that you got to handle, man. I ain't had the time, so he spanked me up, man. I'm going to be real. He spanked me up.
I was going to say, that sounds like you got dog.
So who did you play? Like, who were you and who was he?
Man, we was both Tennessee.
Okay.
And for some reason, the ball couldn't be held on. I had 2 great catches in the end zone. I think Zeph put a code in, old school like Contra or something, you know what I mean? And up, down, left, right, BA, select, start to make me drop the ball every single opportunity I had. But it's neither here nor there. We had the Tennessee spring game. Miko played well. Dylan Sampson couldn't get no handoff right. Couldn't read the holes, you know what I'm saying? So James Pierce is like the freak on there.
Yes, he is. He's unbelievable.
Like, I don't know what it was like. I didn't even have him. No. I don't know what knockoff brand I had of James Pierce, but the one Zeph had, Lord have mercy, he was super dominant. So it's a good game though, man. The graphics in there, hell.
I don't even know where to go because you hit so many right points. Like, adulthood does hit you. You don't have time to sit around and play these games with these kids, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Hey, Savage, and all I'm saying is, this is how I got by in my time overseas.
I know.
All I would do is go to practice, come home, play the game for like 9 hours a day, man. And I can see the difference. Now, I think the last time I picked up a controller was to move it because I was cleaning up the wrong room. That's it, man. And I love to play the game. I love to have the conversations. I love how competitive it is. Man, but it done passed me by, I think, man.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And I hate it too, man.
Hey, Eki Bob just texted me, said no mercy on you, by the way, just so you know.
Of course, Eki
Even
did.
Eki Bob
Of course, Eki was in this combo.
See, let me go and relay this message to Eki Bob now. Eki Bob, when you see 2 people fighting, you let them people fight. And if you jump in, just know you can get caught with a blow. So, you know what I mean? That's the fair warning. Now, you run up in this conversation again, Eki Bob, I'm going to have something for you. I'm just saying.
Oh, gosh.
Well, all right, let's transition.
Keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle until the ride is over.
You feel me, Savage? I'm just out here, man. It's SEC football season, man. The competition level is high. The blood is boiling. People walk around with all NIL deals, got big chains on, designer shoes, tailored suits. This wasn't us, Savage. this wasn't us. It's a different level out here, man. So I got my blood boiling, man. I'm ready.
No doubt. Well, I'm gonna get it boiling just a little bit more because there was a couple athletes that said teams can't even really talk to us unless they mention NIL, man. And that's Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols. Maya and Mia Paldo, 4- and 5-star players, top 30 in this next cycle as far as recruiting goes. What has Kim done, man, to kind of she hit the ground running, Savage?
Yeah, she did, man. And she's also using the Lady Vol brand the way you're supposed to. Like, letting them know, like, I see what's going on with NILs. You already have a brand in your own. Imagine what you could do with this brand combined with yours. And we're going to boost it. That's what the Lady Vol brand is, man. Like, without the winning and things that have been going on, a lot of it's been the recruits. We haven't been getting the top tier athletes. So for us to get them, well, Kim Caldwell to get them back in the door and have it as respectful as it can be, within, 4 or 5 months? Mm-hmm. Man, I see some great things on the horizon, man. And it's going to take time. You know what I mean? You need splashes like this. You got to give a opportunity to get through this year, see what this recruiting class looks like. But those 2 grabs right there, those were A1.
Yeah, and with that being said, also, Savage, I know it's football season, but we got to get basketball in, too, because they in the gym right now like Kobe was, okay?
Absolutely.
One thing that you're going to have to teach me on right now is they're 5'7". In the women's game, does it matter as far as their height? Like, what is their skill set supposed to be for Kim Caldwell's Lady Vols? Because she said she want to move up and down the court. She got to go. The ball must move. They're going to run and gun, essentially, is what it sounded like she was going to do. Their height and size matter much in the ladies' game, Savage?
No, not at that style playing. I think with that's letting you know that they're going to play on tempo and let's get the ball out and go. And with that speed, being 5'7", imagine with that coming downhill full speed at you, and you got to get mismatches and cross matches to see who's guarding who. You automatically get into a mismatch, and that right there, that's how you get these shooters out there. Guys got to come in. Other ladies got to come in and help. And with them getting downhill and collecting all of that attention in the paint, the kickouts. Oh, man, it ought to be threes raining from everywhere. So you need that speed, you need that size. And in today's game, as long as you have an IQ, you scrappy, and you tough, there's nobody being super physical out there. You have one Cardozo running around every now and then, but those are few and far in between. It is a guard's game, especially when you're going to play that style.
Ron Slay, our good teammate of 3HL, he is live from Dallas this morning. Go ahead and check out 3HL this afternoon. I know you guys had a list of guests yesterday, and I know it's going to happen again today. Before we get to Tennessee, what did you take from Clark Lee yesterday? What was maybe the biggest thing that stood out to you in terms of, Vanderbilt is kind of buried at the bottom there, and it just seems to be tougher for them to dig out of that hole?
Yeah, I took from him, man, like if Clark Lee gets you in a one-on-one situation, talking to your parents and you, it's very likely that you commit. Like he is a very thoughtful, motivational-driven guy when you talk to Clark Lee. The problem is that I also heard was when listening to him talk, the resources have to be there. And I think Candace Lee and them are doing a great job as far as putting people into place with winning attitudes and things of that nature, but everybody around them, the boosters, alum, whatever it may be, they got to get some help, man. Those resources got to be tapped into for Vandy to compete. And until they get those resources where you're able to go get guys out of the portal or you're able to get guys and keep them and develop them and you not lose your whole wide receiver room, it's going to be a problem. And I think Clark Lee understands that it's been changing over and over for him through COVID, through NIL, through transfer portal. Like going into year 4, he's had to have 4 different seasons just because of the way the landscape of college football is changing. And if you don't have those resources to help you get up out of there, you can't fast track anything. So right now you're at ground zero. You still got to continue to build and hope you get people to continue to dive in and hopefully mismatch it. You know what I mean? You can get a speed offense or something and try to get some mismatches out there on the field and try to get some points, but it's an uphill battle.
Slate, who do y'all have on the show today for the Vols?
Oh, we got all 3 players. We got Peely, we got Big O, and we got I got coconuts, y'all.
Ooh, we got coconuts. Okay.
Explain.
It means he's got to go.
Oh, it's got coconut.
Oh, he's got to go. Oh, I was like,
Y'all got dusted by the
I was
code
like,
word.
explain what you got coconuts about. Are you making us a pina colada? Like,
He's got
what's going
coconuts.
on?
Right
that
now.
was his
That
word
was
of
awesome.
they are recording and
That was
talking with
awesome.
people and needed to run.
I
They just
forgot
hung
that
up.
that was a word because I was so enthralled in the conversation.
I thought it was a different word that we will
Two-word
not say.
text. 2-word, we fight. That's all.
Oh my
We
gosh,
fight.
that was so funny. I was like, oh, you got coconuts. Okay, what are you making for the boys?
That's good, man. I
That
want to
was
see what his reply
hilarious.
gonna be. The Clark Lee conversation, no.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
I thought, and Ron is a Clark Lee fan, if you did
Yeah.
not know. He's very unbiased in his approach. And speaking about Clark Lee, now, when he speaks about Vandy or Candy, however he wants to present them during the football season, you got to separate one from the two. He's a respectful person as it pertains to Clark Lee.
Sure.
It's interesting to hear him say that about Clark Lee. Like, if he sits you down and he talks to you, he wins you.
I agree.
And that's where I think either they need to develop that type of culture that you can trust us with your kids, which most coaches are. But if he's that good in the one-on-one sit-downs with you, one, I'll say this too. They made a hire based off of that, but you also have to have the place and the steps in place to be able to facilitate players coming to you. Because when he was at Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken, like, he was able to get those recruits because of, one, is Notre Dame, but two, the ability of, having the access to be able to get as many guys as they want in because academics wasn't a big issue, although that is a very high educational institution too. That's why he was successful. Vandy's got to find a way to facilitate his strengths for their needs on the football field too. It has to happen at some point. If not, this is where good coaches go to waste, essentially. And you're going to be hiring inexperienced young guys or older dudes that's just looking for a paycheck and stuff.
And you can't continue to be in that cycle, especially when you are a member of the SEC, because you have to really establish a program and build off of that. And I know coaches come in and out, but if you're already behind in terms of establishing, an identity, and then you're switching out coaches every 3-4 years, like, it's hard to catch up or just be somewhat mediocre in this conference.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because their best period of the last 20 years is under James Franklin, who was a coach for hire and not a program builder that was going to stick around. They are betting on the fact that someone from their own culture is most willing to build something and stay to see it all the way through. And that is where I think Vanderbilt has to adjust what its own culture is.
Yeah.
Because they are now further behind the haves in college football based off of NIL and based off of the academic requirements that you have to be a football player at Vanderbilt versus a football player at all of these other places. Make no mistake, though, for whatever reason, Clark Lee can figure this out in the transfer portal more than Tim Corbin can. And I don't know if that's certain kinds of credits where you've got graduates versus younger players, or Chris Lee has talked about some of those details, but like, Vanderbilt has added a lot of talent in basketball over the last 3 months in the transfer portal. Vanderbilt has added half of New Mexico State's roster, it seems like, from the transfer portal. I think there's legitimate reason to think that Vanderbilt exceeds expectations in 2024 because I do think there is a new vision for who they are offensively that you have not seen in the past. And that is where I will continue to scream from the rafters that Vanderbilt has to try to do things that no one else is doing in the SEC in order to be successful. And it is why I was a proponent when Clark Lee was hired that they should have hired Jeff Monken from Army. And they should have totally leaned into being an option running flexbone triple option team. The murmurs you hear are that they're going to do a lot more of that and that they are going to use the athleticism of Nate Johnson and Diego Pavia to their advantages. I think that is the best route forward for Vanderbilt football. And we talked about it yesterday, is doing something different. But he's 100% right, Slay, is that when you talk to Clark one-on-one, you get it.
For real.
And you get the presence that guy has walking into a living room and telling somebody's parents or grandparents why you should trust them with their kid or grandkid. And that is where Clark has a skill and a talent that not everyone has. He's very personable when you sit down with him one-on-one, and his ability to recruit you to what he is doing. He's just got a lot of work to do.
See what just happened there? we can be very complimentary of Vandy. We'll probably get no clap on the. We'll probably get no pat on the back.
They only hear the negatives.
That's real though. It's like what I was getting at. Yeah, that's real analysis of them though too. And with the upgrades that they're making, that helps. They have to. The thing that sucks for them is they're after a specific type of guy, and
as they should, for sure.
But the thing is though, there are a lot of kids that are attracted to what Vandy has to offer. Like my kids, the thing is going to have to be education is real and is a part of it. I know because I lived it. You got a less than a 1% shot of making it to the next level. So if they can find a way to really hit hard on that 1% group, I hate to compare them to others, but Stanford is doing it. Okay, like the Pac-12 schools are educational schools too. You got Duke doing it. You have Miami, who's a private school, also has high academic standards too. Wake Forest does it. Georgia Tech does it. They've won and been consistently been able to be more above the board than Vandy is. But I guess Vandy's catch-22 is they're playing the SEC.
And that's what was the one thing they have that it just seems to be so impossible to get over is just the expectations in the SEC are so much more heightened. But, you know, you look at a Mississippi State team, you look at some of these that don't have as much resource or it's just harder to recruit. There's still those teams and they're not great, but they're still winning games. You know, it's like we're not seeing as many big droughts with some of those other teams that are lesser in the SEC. But it just seems like, you know, Vandy has got to get out of this rut. And I think they can do it, like you said, with Clark Lee and the vision that they have for him. And now we're going to see the new facilities. Like, those are in place. Like, those are coming along. And hopefully that does help in this day and age when, you know, the pretty things mean a lot.
I mean, Duke consistently has a high draft pick, first and second rounders. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is that part of it, too. If they're getting their athletes on campus, where's the development? Because you're in the SEC, the level of nobody's questioning who they're playing. And if they dominate, like, where is that side of it too? Is it the wait staff? Who is it? It's just so many missing different links in this chain that at some point you feel like they got to get it together. And I'm not championing them on. It's just the reality of, look, there's opportunity for y'all. Somewhere, somehow, you guys are missing out on it. And if Clark Lee's that good, you're either going to run him to the ground so he can't handle it no more and go somewhere else, or you need to get it fixed because he's one of your guys. Who's the Patterson kid on yesterday?
Langston Patterson.
Yeah.
CPA linebacker and running back.
He introed by saying, I don't know if there's anybody that loves Vandy more than Clark Lee. And he's like, he loves Vanderbilt.
Well, yeah.
Langston Patterson. So,
he knows what it's like,
crazy.
too.
And it's the risky part because James Franklin is a good football coach who changed the culture, but Vanderbilt as an institution is uniquely positioned to double down on their own culture. Their chancellor and president and school staff values culture over short-term success for a devaluation of that culture. And that's the tricky part of rebuilding Vanderbilt. Kirby Smart, just a couple minutes ago at the podium in Dallas, references Nike CEO Phil Knight. Says, I wish I could get some of that NIL money he's giving Dan Lanning. Said, but that's another topic.
Okay, why is Kirby really?
They're a Nike school.
Kirby probably got burned.
They're a Nike elite school. There's about, 10 to 12 schools that are in the Nike elite category that have the biggest monetary values of their partnership with Nike. Right. Georgia's one, Florida's one, Tennessee is one, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon State.
But we all know Phil Knight is Oregon.
It does not surprise me, though, that he's trying to get a booster that is willing to match what Phil Knight is doing. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't surprise me either that you got schools looking around saying, well, we're Nike schools. Where's our lunch money?
It's just a little different.
Keep them kids from speed and we'll give you some money.
Yeah, that's what I would have told him straight up. Did he address that yet? Has anybody asked that question yet? I hadn't seen it when I was watching here.
I imagine it's the first question he was asked. Yeah.
We probably going to see it in a little bit. But that's the thing. They're already getting paid from Nike, though. Like, what more do you want, Chris?
This is actually crazy. Brad Crawford writes 6 minutes ago on Twitter, not a single question to Kirby Smart on Georgia's litany of DUI and street racing related arrests.
I think that's weird.
That's unacceptable.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
That's totally unacceptable.
I agree.
His people put that out.
That's bull.
His people put that out. If you ask, we're gone.
That's absolute bull.
Well, it's not gone, but
I mean, they're probably not going to get nothing. So again, for the folks that ask the hard questions, it deserved to be asked. It did.
No, 100%.
That rubs me the wrong way.
That's terrible.
Right there.
Unacceptable from the media there, to be honest. Interesting. And we don't know if some people tried to ask and they ran out of time or whatever, but on the surface, that's not great. 615-737-1045. More headlines on the way out as we get you everything you missed and wrap up the show next. Rev it up your Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW 1045 The Zone. The Buck Rising Show coming up next. Josh Heupel will meet with the media at 10:45 this morning. They will carry much of that for you. Josh Heupel meeting with the media and talking to local reporters. He has already done that. Nothing super crazy.
Not
from Josh Heupel. Says team is extremely focused. They understand the importance of every single day. You got to go win, all these things. And Austin Price said it perfectly earlier. Not going to hear a lot of interesting things from Josh Heupel today. That's the way he likes it.
Yeah, he likes to control the narrative, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially, in a situation like this where there's a lot of coaches that there's a lot that comes out of here that's not great, and the conversation is not where you want it to be. I respect the way Heupel runs his business, though, because it's just about what they need to do this season and not going to try to overpromise or overdeliver.
I think he's in a position to where he has to be the most careful because his team is, I ain't going to say it's fragile, but there's a lot to be proven. And if he goes talking a lot, then it somewhat ruins the progress of others or it makes it harder for that too, even though you still got to go prove it. But he can't say and ruffle the feathers way too much, I don't think. He's smart, quiet, and move the heck out of the way until you continue to build your empire up.
It's definitely a different tone, and rightfully so, because he has to, like you said, prove himself in the SEC still. Yeah. We've seen some really good progress, but you see some of these coaches come out there, and it's so funny, like whether it be Brian Kelly or Kirby Smart or even Lane Kiffin, and just the different type of tone they bring to the podium. It's just like they got that little bit of like, oh, yeah, we're good, and we know it. That kind of arrogance to them.
There's definitely some arrogance about it. And you should be when you're king of the hill like that.
Talking about Vanderbilt this morning, Justin on Facebook Live writes in, says Vanderbilt has 27 players on their roster, 12 of them currently starters that came from the portal. That's 100% right. That's the point I was making earlier, that basketball and football have added a ton of transfers. Maybe showcasing a bit more flexibility to the academic restrictions around Vanderbilt using the transfer portal, which makes it even more curious why baseball hasn't.
They got to figure that one out. That's been their bread and butter right there.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But to that point, I mean, when you lose your top three receivers to the portal as well, and London Humphreys, another CPA guy, is at Georgia, you got no choice but to add in the portal. You're not going to field a full team if you don't. So in order to have a football team, you're going to have to add in the portal. Unfortunate for Vandy over the offseason.
And here's the thing. Despite who's won the most and got the most respect, I still think at their university, at the end of the day, they want the football to be number one.
Yep.
You say what we want to about it, and it ain't no knock. Yeah, it's beautiful what Tony V has done at UT. But if Josh Heupel get close to hoisting the trophy up, I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah,
different level.
Yeah, it's a different level.
Just a different level. And like I said, there's no knock on Corbs and nothing like that. It's a different level when your football team is king of the hill.
I love this tweet from Wes Blankenship, very funny guy on Twitter who talks about college football and does the fake high school football broadcast parodies. Said, at what point does EA Sports consider putting media days in the college football game? Reporter mode. Stephen Godfrey, Split Zone Duo, responded and said, the point of gaming is fun, not misery.
I'm with that, because it is a hustle down there, man. It is.
So looking forward to hearing Josh Heupel, Cooper Mays, Keenan Peely, and Omari Thomas on 3HL later today.
Nice, yeah, all three of them.
Yeah,
coconuts. That means see ya.
See ya. I can't believe you said that. That's my dog, though. That's my dog, man. But great show today, man. Love revisiting Jeff's conversation, man. Still a lot more in that conversation. Yep. I think we can get to over the course of this offseason, preseason.
Sam Hartman, former Notre Dame and Wake Forest quarterback, this morning on Twitter, tweets, just blowing off some steam and tags EA Sports College Football. It is a picture of Wake Forest playing Clemson and beating them 105-34.
Love that.
Great.
Love that. You beat me on Saturdays. I'll beat you up on the game.
I love that. These players and athletes are players and fans are just playing teams that beat them. I know Tom Fornelli said that Vanderbilt would be his number one team to start a dynasty mode with on EA Sports College Football.
They listed. I think Vanderbilt's a really popular team.
It's not, but he's the one that said it was because it's like the hardest Power 5 team to win a championship.
How do you know it's not?
Well, I mean, I've not seen anyone on Twitter say they're starting well with
CBS
Vandy.
College Sports says top 5 teams for
I'm
Dynasty
looking
mode
at it right
EA
now.
Sports.
Yeah, just Tom Fornelli's the one
Yeah.
saying that. It's just his opinion.
Okay.
He says Vanderbilt, Army, Southern Miss, which I think is a great selection. Kent State and Kennesaw State as his personal top 5.
Kent State got a lot of talent, though.
Kent State?
Yeah.
Over the last 25 years, his reasoning for it is that over the last 25 years, they have the worst winning percentage, I think, in college football.
Kent State does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Well, they always put players in the doggone in the league, though. They got numerous players in the league.
Man, they had a really good one that would have been so successful if Ramon could have just blocked a little better. Dree Archer, best running back out of Kent State. Ramon, why did you let him down, dude? He was before his
hang
time.
up and listen.
Hey, no, it was not. He was scared because everybody else was just as fast as he was, man.
Go watch those highlights and tell me that. Go watch those highlights and tell me that.
He couldn't break free. And it wasn't me blocking for him. I didn't get an opportunity to because he was on special teams.
75% of people who do EA Sports College Football Dynasty are picking random G5, like directional schools. That's why I say nobody would really use Vandy because
There are
you
people
just
in
don't.
the chat saying they use Vandy. What are you talking about?
we're in Nashville. They're probably either Vandy fans or no. I'm not downplaying it. I'm just telling you, like this is my arena. This is my space.
It's other people's space too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did win the game draft, so this is kind of my space on this show.
I wasn't here.
I want you two to play against each other so then Bert can get in on this
I'm gonna be
conversation.
trash. I'm okay with online
I'm
games.
just telling
with
you,
y'all.
like people pick like random, like Kennesaw State is a very popular pick.
No, and I get that, but a lot of people think Vandy is they want to, have them rise to
glory.
the top, and maybe
show
they
your sources
feel they
on that.
can do it.
Two
Things
people in
we
the
love.
F&M Bank chat enough to make an argument.
Things we love.
Call us.
That is the show. Don't call us because Buck would pick up. We're not going to pick up. Our show's over. Back at it tomorrow morning. Rhett Bryan will join us everything from 3HL's visits with Josh Heupel with the Tennessee contingent. We'll have that for you as well. Ramon Foster, send us home.
Hey, good people. You must remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.